Don't have a good day. Have a great day.
Okay. Okay. No. Yes, put you on right. I people. I don't know. I need to find a skill. That does.
Started today, we just want to say that our hearts go out to everyone affected by the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. This is a competitive gaming broadcast, something meant to be fun and entertaining, so we'll do the best we can for you along those lines. On today's broadcast, it's day 2 of the FNCS Finals. Yo, what it do, Fortnite fam? Welcome back to the FNCS Finals. This is day number 2. At the end of the competition, at the end of 6 games, we will have new champions here in Europe. The Axe of Champions is up for grab. $300,000 going to that first place duo. It's all to play for, all on the line. And of course, you know, we got to bring the boys back. We got Boop and Resub here, my friends. How are you feeling? It's day number 2.
It's so exciting to be. A severe lack of Denon on my side, but hopefully I'll get mine soon. How are you guys doing today, boys?
No. This is the 1 year anniversary coat we get on. Zeke got it a while ago. I'm just crowning mine today, I think. I'm doing fantastic on top of that.
There you go. You love to see it. As you guys know, we like to have fun here on the broadcast, but if you've never been with us before, you're tuning in Fortnite for the first time, welcome. We're super happy you're here. Let's talk about a few things to get you up to speed. First off, though, Legends Landing. Have you heard about that? You gotta go check it out. It's an incredible creative mode island put together for us competitive folk. That's right. We can all hang out there. I'm including myself there, also being a competitive player. That can have some great times. There's 2 different types of little games in there, mini games. A shooting one, the 2v2 box fight. There's an in-game shop there that you can add stuff to your locker to. There's the Hall of Champions, reminisce on times past, and of course an incredible stage there so you can hop in from the game and watch how you're watching now, but then you can do it with your friends and emote and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Go check it out. It's Legends Landing. And finally, we got to talk about the newest champion to join the roster of champions that is the outfit series. That's right, friends, check this out. It's in chapter 3 season 1 champion. It looks so good. There's a back bling in the shop right now, as well as a track and this cool new outfit. So if you want to add them to your locker before they disappear, make sure to check them out. You know, Reese, Hoop, I think this one is going to get added to my locker.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
I say I didn't sound enthusiastic when I said that, but I actually was. I got it today. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, yellow's not my color personally, but yeah.
There you go. There you go. Thank you guys so much. Okay, so let's actually talk about the show itself and what you guys can expect as viewers as we tune in for the 6 games ahead of us. Let's start with the broadcast schedule. So the way the FNCS typically works is we have a few weeks there of qualifiers, then we go into a semifinal round. So for us this season, it looked like we had 3 days, and then we lead here to the finals. 2 days of incredible competition. But Boop, what has led us here? What have these duels been through to get here?
It felt like such a long time ago, but yeah, we had 2 qualifiers in week number 1, 16 viewers coming through from the open qualifiers, and then we went over to the heats in the semifinals. 18 of those came through from consistency, and then 16 game winners in total. We're now in day finals, and we have 6 games today of very exciting content, and we will crown our champion of duos today as well.
Yeah, if you want to look at the to get the top 25 teams, you can see on the right side, every threshold from there on is just 1 additional point till you get up to 3rd. We're going to start getting 2 more points, and obviously up until the victory royale, which will be 32 points. That is total, so cumulative. Every single elimination also being worth 3 points in there as well.
And we cannot forget, along with the Axe of Champions, there's also prize money. Here is a look at all 7 regions and their prize breakdown, but we can take a deeper dive, right? We can see what the placement looks like for us specifically in Europe. As I kind of stated before, $300,000 going to that number 1 duo, but I do just want to stress, even if a duo that you're like following does not make first, if they can say go from like, let's say outside of top 10 into top 10, right? That's life-changing amount of money. So as we watch these 6 games, every time someone moves up and gets closer into that top 10, that top 5, we're going to cheer them on, right? Because that is a testament to their skill, and we can kind of celebrate with them as a player for that moment. So super cool.
I think,
now,
I want to add something on there as well.
Yeah,
a win,
do it.
Right? 32 points. Some of the biggest games we've seen so far. 9 elimination victory rounds from Bench Fishy, also from one from DKS as well. Yesterday, those 2 are 59 points. Any of the teams who's currently in 20th to 30th, that'll almost put you in top 5 if you just win a game with 9 eliminations. So super close.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, and thank you for that segue, Reese. Perfect. This is where I was going to go. Is a stick?
Oh, this one.
math a little bit, even though I'm not the best at math, you know, anyone from the top 20 could realistically win this tournament today. So it's everything to play for, and that just makes it so much more exciting as we go to the second page. They see 96 points. So, you know, we're just a throw distance away from, you know, being there on top.
Yeah, I think anyone outside of that can, realistically, too. It depends on who's up at the top,
Oh,
how poorly they do. It's a second-day tournament. We often see teams doing worse on the second day. But one of the things that's been pretty consistent is teams on this 11th till 20th page usually have a better day, too, as well. And right now, 1st through to 20th is closer than 1st. Closer than 1st through to 10th on any other region. So EU right now, unbelievably close when it comes to the top 20 in comparison to basically every other region at the same point.
Yeah.
It's wild, you know, like, and again, like, let's say this top team in first place, they fall early in just game number 1, right? That lets everyone else start to catch up. So you're going to be seeing a lot of these players, if something starts to go wrong, they're going to slow.
How are you watching the FNCS? I'm watching.
So for Middle East history, once again, Bleed and FKS, congratulations to you. But OCE, Jace, and Boswick, I believe is how you say that. I'm so sorry if I ever say any of your names wrong. I do not mean to. There you go. I'm
his name. It's his fault. Don't worry.
How are you watching the FNCS?
Runaix, once again, I'm so sorry. I'm so bad with names.
I do want to mention OC real quick because I forgot to mention the match point format. So remember, if you guys reach 500, or not you guys, but the players, maybe you guys if you're watching, you never know, 500 points in total with 3 victory royales, the tournament is done there. It just finished. So we almost saw that in OC. We saw a team getting 499 points in the last game. You know, it's going to be very tough to reach that. You know, the points right now at the top isn't even reaching 200 yet in EU. Just shows how close it is, but you never know. Maybe someone goes crazy today.
I mean, I did the maths. In order for someone to reach the 500 points by game 11, so because they canceled the tournament early, right? If you hit that match point format, the people in first, which is currently Pink and Ass, would have to win every game with 13 eliminations. So, you know, we've not seen one of those yet on EU. We've seen the highest being a 9-elimination game. So it's looking unlikely that we'll see it end early today.
Well, Reese, I feel like crazier things have happened. So
I don't think they have.
Today would be.
I'm trying to think if there has been anything more absurd than that. I can't off the top of my head.
Well, we can't put it past our players, man. They will step up and say, oh, is there something we cannot accomplish? Is there some goal that we need to meet? Okay, with 13 eliminations in a VR every game, we'll see what we can do. Guys, we had a chance to sit down with one of our players that is competing today. It's Chapix. Levin is hanging out with them. Check this out. It's in the lobby with Chapix.
Hey everyone, my name is Levin2K and we are back in the lobby and I'm here with the one, the only Chapix. Chapix, it's a pleasure to be talking to you, bro.
Thank you, thank you.
Talk to me about that legendary duo. What was it like playing with Crew back in the day, you guys rising to the top of the Fortnite scene?
I mean, it was just us like having fun. The first like 2 weeks, I think, we placed like 7th in the week 2 of the World Cup. And then like we saw our potential and that we could actually like qual, you know? And then we just kept practicing and stuff like that, and like the 4th week, like the next duo week, we came 4th and qualified to the World Cup.
You were in line in the stadium in front of all those people. What was that like? Like, do you almost miss that? And how was that experience for you? For I'm guessing one of your first times ever on a LAN.
It was my first time at LAN. It was just like, I'm not gonna lie, it was a crazy experience. Yeah. Like the fans, like the aura there, you know. Like the feeling of being there, like all the pros, like when I was standing in line and then like I was looking back and in front, like Ak was in front of me, Zayd was behind me, you know, like this was the real deal, you know.
You still talk to any of them? What's the relationships like now?
The time I was playing with them was probably the like most fun time I've ever played Fortnite, because they were my friends and I've talked to them a lot, and just playing with them tournaments and just winning and stuff, it's like a great feeling as well.
What's been the key to how you stayed at the top? Like, some people find it so hard. Like, lots of players throughout Fortnite history, they go down a bit, they come up sometimes, they go down, but you've always just been really, really good. How do you stay at the top?
I mean, it's about like what drives you to play the game, you know? Like, everybody has different motivations, and like my motivation, I think really big compared to other people that just play the game for fun and just hope they place. Like, I have my other reasons that I need to like play competitively and like stay at the top. and like put all my time in so I can stay at the top. I think it's just like about motivations. Like if people don't find the game fun anymore, like they won't play. Like me, if the game is not fun, I'll find a way to make it fun, you know?
How are you feeling about duos? Are you looking forward to your chances? How have you found the first couple of cash cups? Like, talk to me about your mindset now going into FNCS.
Game has changed, like the dynamics of the game has changed. Like you can see it in like moving zones. The zones take longer minutes to close, and it changes the dynamics of the game. So you can always learn something new. And there's like new areas around the map, mountains, like where you should position yourself. So it's just like so much more you can learn in the new chapter. So people are just gonna stay motivated to keep doing good, you know?
It's been a pleasure talking to you though, bro.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
See you guys all later.
Thank you so much, Levin, for hanging out in the lobby with Chapix. Well, again, we'll be seeing them compete today, and I can't wait to see how they perform in day number 2. So we got to see our standings, right? Let's talk about some of the duos and how we can, I guess, our expectations, right, coming into day number 2. We do like to have this conversation. Is a duo a day 1 team, meaning can they perform better on day 1 versus day 2? So first up, let's talk about Thomas, HD, and Tayson. Boop, I want to come to you first. Okay, so we know they're performing very well, but yesterday we did see some issues with Surge. Like, do you feel maybe, you kind of had actually mentioned you think they may be overlooting yesterday?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a tough spot that they're in, right? So we didn't really expect them to be uncon in Covert Cavern. We expected a lot more players to be going there, but they have the entire pot to themselves, which is kind of surprising. We do have Phoenix and Raisin over towards the north side, very close by to them, but I felt like they didn't even interact once, right? The last game, they did push into it, try to contest that vault, but, Thomas and Tayson, they've been looting the entire Covert Cavern, and what you do as well, you get those vaults, you get those safes from the vault, and then you go all the way towards Greasy Grove, get those chili chug splashes, and there's your loadout set. But that takes... they struggled for Storm Surge, second zone Surge. I think Reese even mentioned every single game they were below Surge at some point in the games, which is a little bit ridiculous for such...
I got bored of being alone, so we're gonna go into pocket game.
Hello?
Hello?
Hola, hola, ¿cómo estás? Bien, bien, sí, 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 sí. Kebab, KFC, good.
So he had
McDonald's,
some
no.
difficulties on spawn yesterday.
Are you from India?
Right? But do we think that's still going to happen here in day number 2?
England?
Right, so the difficulties that I'm mentioning here is the fact that
Yeah.
things haven't actually been
Can
that
you,
difficult,
can you
right?
say
The south side, this is
water?
perfect shot. Look at this timing, right? This is right here on the south side is exactly
Say
where
water.
Squeeze are landing. So they're looting that building to the south, and then what they're doing is they're dipping out to the south to loot up on
Guys, water.
the 7 outposts and things
Water,
like that.
brother.
In the first couple of games, they've kind
Not
of had a little bit of fun because
water.
PKR and Mappy were around in that area. Actually, it's game number 1. PKR beamed him and not, I think it was X-Weed out of the sky before he's even landed. So they had a bit of trouble there. They got into a couple of engagements that never really resulted in anything. But now when I'm looking at the leaderboard, right, I'm actually a little bit more concerned about these Reason and the
Or
deal who are
soccer.
contesting up to that north side, because they started to drop down the leaderboards a bunch.
Yeah.
They played 2 good games and then had 4 pretty much 0-point games after that. So they've gone from like almost first down to like 20th now. And I'm thinking the reason that they started doing badly was because they weren't taking those early and mid-game engagements. So I'm thinking, is Reason and Vidil going to come into this and think, we're just going to fight Andalek next, squeeze off spawn, get our surge, and play the rest of our games out? So I'm a little bit concerned for our current 6th place team of Andalek and XP.
Yeah, you make a good point of reason the video, right? They are, you know, they have the skirmishers plan, right? And usually it goes well, and then when it doesn't go well, then, you know, they resort back to those other tendencies, you know, okay, let's WT a team for sure, because that's what they know what to do. And that's a little bit scary for Alex and Extremes, because you just never know what's going to happen with such aggressive teams nearby to you. But, you know, Alex and Extremes, I think they have that experience. You know, Alex in start of the season struggled just a tiny bit, you know, trying to find a duo, but he has that chemistry with Extremes now, you know, insane caster placement, and he's showing it now, you know, with a very weird off-front situation, but it seems to work out for him, and hopefully they'll come out unscathed.
Hopefully, right? That's all we can hope for in day number 2. Guys, I'm very excited to talk about this next duo. It's Rolls and Clown, currently sitting in second place. So they're over at Sunflower Sapling, and this is their first FNCS finals as a duo. These guys is like, to me, they're almost like the next
Hello?
right, of up-and-comers here. The thing for me, though, is
Hello, hello,
you
nigga.
know a lot about this duo in particular this season.
Hello.
So let's do a little bit of a statistic real quick. Clown in his first FNCS qualifier,
it's a 2v1.
How do you yawn, motherfucker?
They went on Twitter.
Hey, two motherfuckers.
He said, you know, we played 4 games in the unit.
I think this
I mean, he can even compare that. That's a ridiculous Cinderella story. I mean, I'm excited to see how this will do today.
Yeah, I think interestingly on top of this, right?
Oh, and the game started.
Hey guys! Oh my god, oh motherfucker!
Second set of the play, we get played now. Second place, like we got slightly more underappreciated, underknown players are absolutely capable of popping off when it comes to a set of the environment where the hardest of the hardest are. Yeah, I mean, they clearly look professionalism as well, right? You know, this is one of the first finals together, but this is kind of like multiple dudes as well, and they overcame that adversity. And that shows, you know, a lot of experience that they don't really have, but you know, that's incredible mental fortitude. I'm telling you, man, I'm excited to share more about their story and learn just more about them to be able to show up in the final, especially like on a new map, in a new meta, in a new setting that is not trios with duos, and they're holding second place. I'm liking this duo a lot. I can't wait to see what they can do today. So let's shift gears once again. Let's talk about heal-wise. Yesterday we talked about the powers today. We got to turn attention to now. We got Joe and Tito going up against Traffic and Steady here.
Versus
Hey, motherfucker!
we will win.
They will win.
And then Travis said he decided to kind of bail on the field. Like, what are we seeing here?
Yeah, you know, this is just an unfortunate circumstance. You know, these guys are both potential FNCS winners of the World Cup. You know, you see that in the success of them. You know, they're being, I think after the 5 games, they were in ahead of 3C and Hen.
And it's another 2v2. We will win. They
4 to 5 games.
win.
Defeated by Joe and Venno, unfortunately for them. Kind of a tough situation. I think Steady, you know, himself, you know,
Oh, that's because it's not there.
has struggled to sort of find a
It's
job quite
So what's the guys?
also struggled there against Nebs and
Okay,
Hellfire. So,
Robin.
you know, I don't think they have many options left. I'm expecting to just go South Sleepy, but they're running out of options today.
Yeah, it's sad because like Traffic City is a team who has the potential to win an FNCS. Straight up, like they have both won previous FNCSs. Last season, actually, they both won FNCSs. One being Grand Royale, one being in season natural normal season 8. So it's like these guys are so good. They put in the work as well, and I know it's going to be frustrating for both players. Like I've seen Traffic already say this is the most work he's put in the season, and it's not paid off fully for Seti. I mean, that's his entire thing is working hard. So I know he's going to be disappointed right now, but these two, they can definitely co-op like a top 20, top 10 even if they play well.
Right, and as long as they can do that, right, once again, this is life-changing amounts of money here. As long as they can play as high as possible. They've already made it to finals. They've already proven they are a top-tier duo. It is now just how far can we make it, right, at the end of the day. Let's talk about confidence. So, friends, this was super messy yesterday. There was 4 duos landing here at one point. Talk us through the defense of yesterday.
Look, I want to just point out the most important part here. Lincoln default on the south side. We see Vortex 3, and combined in their name. That's right. I'm going to keep calling them that.
Oh.
Later, a couple times they mentioned they went
So close.
That north side so far, and that's not what's happening. Basically, what's happening is they're just fully rotating out to the west side here, and just going against like the line teams who go to the barn split. They're getting into engagement. They're third party. Every time they push in there, they pretty much pick up some easy eliminations and easy points, and they're now in third because of that as well. So I'm wondering today, are they going to push more to the north side of Dunkers? Are they going to keep doing this? Because it seems to learn overnight what those strategies are.
I feel like we can slowly just let you on the north side conflict. Every single competitive story for now. Lincoln default makes it kind of spicy, but you know, they're making it work. I feel like they're not landing on too much loop.
Maddie versus 269 when QT made it.
That's right, thank you guys. The inside, unparalleled. So we have a few more minutes here before we jump on the battle bus. Let's actually take another look at the standings, right?
Looks like we just have a bunch of spraying going on here.
Why some duos, but what else can we expect, right? So we talk a lot about the state of one duo we haven't mentioned too much today is DKS and Bad Sniper. They showed up huge yesterday, right? They were actually making waves in these games, and then what I like about that in particular is
fishy dude.
Right? What you do is they just show up, and you just like, if you're in game and you're watching elimination, you're like, oh, that's this duo, they just got elimination. They're close by. I guess I can't operate. I guess it's gonna kill you and walk away, Boop.
Oh shit, go. J'ai tenté de gagner des sous. Genre, c'est moi le meilleur joueur. Personne ne peut battre Go Potaga et ça, vraiment.
Yeah, that was basically a story of whoever has the best draw, right, for the main building. Because DK's Bad Sniper, if they get it, they're going to land on the main building. If Benji Fish and Mr. Savage get it, they're landing on the main building. The other team goes to the south. It's like, that's what's happened basically every game. Or they're 50-50, and in that instance, it's mainly been Benji and Savage who've actually won off. Yeah, man, I'm sorry, there's just so much to unpack, right? There's just so many of these, like, super small details. They might just go over your head, and you're like, what happened here? And it's these small details. Really quickly, let's remind ourselves of what those predictions were. Which of these duos we think could walk away? New duos champions. Me and Boop. We're holding it down. We believe, Boop. It's Thomas, Safety, and Tayson.
Please make it happen today. I cannot be losing against V-Sub, Shayo, and Levin. My ego cannot take it. Please, Tayson and Casters, please stop cursing them and saying they have good loot.
Look, me alongside Sharon Levin also going for Hen and Queasy, but most importantly on top of that, my mum messaged me today saying she's rooting for Hen and Queasy as well. So, you know what? How can you not win when you've got my mum and me both supporting you? There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, if you want to hear more from Boop and Reese, we'll be back between games to break down all the action. Kicking off day 2 of the FNCS finals here in Europe. We've got 11K. We've got Shy Wager standing by.
Moi, si je gagne 3 millions, je le mets sur Fortnite, les 3 millions.
Motivation, drive, hunger, and yearning for greatness. 100 players still feel these emotions because there's 6 games still on the line.
This is the FNCS Finals, the second day at it. My name is 11-2K. I'm joined by Shayo Wager, and that emotion is what we live for. It doesn't get much better than this.
At all right now, we have the Kings on high ground in first place with Pink and Anas. We have the next generation rolling through with Clown and Grolls, and past that through the Fire and Flames, Lincoln Default. You heard it on the desk. 3 people contesting the 11, and they're in the top 3 still. That's unheard of.
And the greatest thing about it is the fact that so much can change, right? We know with the nature of the format, we know all these teams from about 1 to 20 even have a chance to really go at it going into these final games. And who will be the one to take it is left to be seen.
We saw yesterday, one fight, one wrong call, a zone pull you didn't expect. Suddenly, it's a swing maybe for you. 59 points all the way towards the top, Benji Savage style. Or you're just dropping down, down, down to the depths, wondering what your next POI drop is. Well, there's no more day 3. There's no more what happens tomorrow. It's all on the line today. 6 games, and we'll start it off with 1 there, 11. But still, what do we expect? We'll have to see live off that bus. Game 1 is starting right now.
Who can be in control of their own destiny? There's 6 games to decide. There's never been more nerves than this, right? This season, Chapter 3. So many new additions, new POIs, new duos. And we'll have a new champion at the end of the day. Right into Chonkers. The analysts broke it all down. Loads of action going here, and Swilliam is no secret. Oh, wow. Swilliam, I was going to say, isn't shy by any means, but he will be taken out rather swiftly. And so Floking Clement will win that battle on the north side. But we still know Default and Link will be lurking in the shadows, ready for their opportunity to get involved.
Yeah, everyone on the top 3 right now struggling a little bit off that spawn. Grols as well, hitting those shins over and over again. Zestin does not want to go down, and I can see the pattern too. It's top 3 versus 33 or 43 at this moment in terms of placement for Zestin and Hookah. They're still pushing in, and that's one of our Titans down.
Yeah, that's going to be huge, right? And this is what we were just saying. So much can change. One off spawn, lost, and that 3rd place slot for them, unlikely to be there by the end of this one.
Yeah, if you're just joining us right now as well, you missed maybe the format explainer or what's really breaking down. You've only watched the Sunday because that's where, you know, the final banger games are prevalent. This is a 12-game format entirely, 6 games already played before. Everyone understands now their stakes, their story, and you'll see the cheese traps in play. Scram rolling through, 15th place overall. Up against what looks like Melody and Kepi right now. And unfortunately, he's stuck inside these mines. 36 rolls in and takes him down. Refscar's left alone.
Yeah, you saw Scram, he messed up the edit, and then when he didn't have enough time to delay, I'm sure that's what his goal was, right? To delay as long as he could for Refscar to come to his aid. But again, a technical error, and it cost him his life.
Yeah, this is going to be de facto game number 7 inside that total format. Nice from Melody, and you'll be noticing this throughout, I feel like, this entire first game 11. Everyone counter-stratting the stories and what happened yesterday from everyone who should be comfortable near the top.
Because they know, right? They know how powerful it is. If they can just get one of these games pop off in the end game, get a couple eliminations, the points really do stack up. The finest of margins are the difference, right, between these teams on the leaderboard. And like Zeke was saying, it's life-changing money. Everybody has an opportunity to push their way up high in the standings. It's just all about whether you can deliver in the moment. Vino and Joe, the team on our screens here, they very much delivered out of Sleepy day 1, winning 5 of the games, or 5 of the off-spawn battles, I should say, that they had out of that spot.
It's a team mode though, right? There's no way Joe and Vino can push towards top 10 playing as solos, because I feel like that's what we saw yesterday over and over again. If they have to fix one thing, it's starting to play the mode, man. Stay alive.
Yeah, the cohesion wasn't all there, right? There were times when it actually became a bit comical, right? Vino would be down, Joe would, you know, go to reboot him, then Joe would go down, and Vino had to try to reboot Joe. It was just an endless cycle of them playing as solos, like you said, but again, right, they've had a night to reset. Hopefully a good 8 hours of sleep, right, as well. And now they can reset, and that will be applied to their opposition, right? Seti and Chapix at Sleepy would have needed the same thing. They really struggled there, but it's fine, right? Because they have these 6 days to make that comeback, and we all love a comeback story, don't we?
Absolutely, and it's going to be a little bit more of a comeback for some than others. Heading Krizu though, rolling in 4th for the moment. Not as dominant as we expect them, you know, from all previous FNCSs, but staying inside the top 5. I think, once again, you mentioned this yesterday, 11. We just expect greatness from a lot of these players. Seeing them just good or, you know, in a nice spot isn't equivalent to great. We sometimes put them down a bit too much.
Yeah, I think that speaks volumes about what they are as a duo. They had a quiet day and finished in 4th, right? That should really strike fear in the hearts of the other players in the lobby. If these guys had a quiet day and only came 4th, then who knows what will happen if they can really start to piece things together like they have for most of the season. We're seeing Ryzen and Phoenix applying some pressure to Vortexia and Castery. Again, Vortexia and Castery were initially towards Chonkers yesterday, but now they've moved further north, and for what reason, they're going to be finding themselves sending right back to the lobby. Vortex will be knocked. Castry now trying to do everything he can to avenge his teammate, but it's going to be real difficult. Phoenix, though, actually will go down, and, you know, Ryzen isn't all there in HP. And so it's a 1v1 now.
I feel like I'm at a train station with, like, you know, 17 trolleys on the line. All I can hear is chugga 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 over and over and over again with all these SMGs. And I kind of like it. These are two of the most aggressive duos from day one. Castry and Vortex in general, aggressive for the entire season level. You would not expect them to be the ones getting pushed, them to be the ones to be responding to a fight. But that's what's happening because Ryzen has to switch up his game plan completely from day one. 61 points is not enough to push towards opponent. Castry's really just locking down as much as possible, keeping his team alive.
Yeah, and Castry, the elimination went through, so he gets the siphon. Ryzen does a good job there just to sort of nullify that factor. And now it's about winning another 1v1.
It's not over yet, though. Never mind. As I say it, he rattles right through. Castry down, and that's gonna shape the game in such a different way. I am not like downplaying the just impact of Castry and Vortex being on the map, Levin. They just make things absolutely atrocious for so many duels. With them gone this early, before placements even handed out, that changes things for a lot of people mid-game.
Yeah, and it can have a positive impact, but it can also have a negative one, right? Because Phoenix, Ryzen, obviously they win the fight inevitably, but at the end of the day, now that interrupts their game plan, right? It means that they're going to have to commit more time to actually trying to get back involved in this game rather than looking to play in some power positions. You see how they bounce back? They wouldn't have had the best day yesterday, but another team that will feel they can do much better today.
Pero esto es una mierda por cómo
Right
aquí.
now, I feel like this team I'm the most scared of in terms of looking at anyone from 20th to 30th because they made the most mistakes being done. And I might seem a little bit backwards, but at the same time, the more mistakes you make, I feel like there's so much more to review. They went for so many different fights. They went down on Surge a few times. And looking good. You all know about Stompy, and we saw that the qualifiers. I feel like this team definitely has some secret game plans we don't know of, but will impact the game today.
Yeah, they're super different to qualifier too.
I don't want that. I don't want to die.
They are very much a force to be reckoned with. And, you know, they're not having to deal with some of the shambles we've seen at the Daily Bugle in previous sessions. So I'd like to hope that today they can find a bit of better form, but definitely one of the more consistent teams in this lobby. Thomas HD and Tayson posturing up on this hill. They struggled with Surge yesterday, and Tayson on Twitter saying, look, we shouldn't be struggling with Surge, acknowledging that there's going to be a lot of pressure on them because they're two of the best players we've ever had in Fortnite. And yeah, they came top 10 after day one, but many people would argue, you have the best loot in the game. We expect more than top 10 for you guys. So they'll have that pressure, but if there's anyone who could deal with it, I'm sure it's Tayson and Thomas.
I mean, they are the DAY2 de facto duo, I feel like. Every FNCS we've seen, Thomas HD has absolutely becomes super online, like gigabit speeds on that second day. So I feel like they have a little bit of a pedestal from that first one. Talk about a pedestal, a tower, a spot that should just be etched on the map now for following FNCS. Pink's Cavern, I feel like, is what it should be called, or Pink's Mountain, maybe. Him and Anas are just up here 24/7, dictating who can move where inside the whole lobby. They are like, you know, just guards, making sure that there's a cost to every decision you make, Levin. And they've had so much good surge from it, so much good positions overall, too. Looks like they got zone as well. This might be their game.
Yeah, when you look back at their games yesterday, they could have had an even better day, right? There were a couple of games where they were do best and dominate high ground. You know, as much as I don't like to blame things on RNG, there were a couple instances where they did genuinely just get a bit unlucky, right? And so you like to think if it balances out today, these guys could have a monster day. People question Shia whether they'd be able to handle high ground of all the other top high ground teams in the lobby. That was not even a question for them. They definitely
yeah, the answer was 2 victory royales. No one right now in EU is catching up to that standard, and it was one that was from this zone specifically that they rolled in and won the entire game. It almost looks like a little bit of a mimic where it started kind of near Cavern and pulled down a little bit overall. So I want to see if they can do that once more. Vito and Joe, though, we talked about them a little bit. They're going to be inside the storms currently. Still a long ways to go. We saw the pattern like this also develop for a lot of teams, Levin. Kind of moving late, being behind. Stack up their decisions a bit too much and it becomes overwhelming. Over here, if you make a mistake, it could just cost you the game.
Yeah, for sure. They're deep in the storm, and again, when we talk about timing in your games, that's one of the things that can sort of throw things off. It'll be fun to see how they play out. I don't think many people expected them to do as well out of Sleepy as they did. But Vino's no stranger to proving people wrong, and I'm sure he'll try to do that again by pushing his way in to that top 10.
Right now, I believe everyone's just searching to get towards that top 35 slot. That's exactly where placement starts, just 1 point. But at the same time, you can see teams like Ryzen Phoenix, like Cassia Vertexia, pushing for those eliminations as well. 3 points per. It makes the format a little bit more favoring to those aggressive teams, the ones who are popping off in low ground. While you guys are watching all these hype teams, you know, go for the win. There will be many stories also happening in those underground boxes back and forth. The 8 ELM games, I feel like, start from the dirt towards these end games. But on this second zone 11, many opportunities, a balance of both water and lots of hills on the land. But it's not too crazy like the cavern or the lumberyard, right? With this zone, there's a lot more flexibility for many players. I feel like that's both a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah, I think it very much means we're going to have one of the situations we felt like we were having a lot yesterday, where you have these games that maybe these teams you weren't expecting to do as well, just because the zone sort of gives them that advantage. Wow, what are these shots? Oh my goodness.
Maybe it's like a simulation. Remember, big default. 3 teams every game. Once they're here right now, I feel like their arms just be on fire, and they have the most practice compared to everyone else in the lobby.
Yeah, these guys really don't play around when it comes to the eliminations. Very much looking to take advantage of the fact that you get free per. And the Let's Say Squeeze. Shire, very much to many, including myself, a surprise team. Almost came out of nowhere, right? Like a snake in the grass, but to be fair, they have all the experience in the world.
George, can I follow me?
I'm gonna roasted them for weeks. Me and you legitimately roasted them for weeks because we expected so much more. It's Analyx X Squeeze. Analyx was like the I don't know, the guinea pig child of every region. Everyone just realized how good he was for like, I don't know, 3 months, and everyone was watching his cash cups, his FNCSs, how he approaches the game, how he approaches being a teammate inside his trio back last year. Now I think the transition was just a little bit tough overall, maybe switching modes, but they've really found their groove on day one.
Yeah, this is one of the few teams that have really been playing with each other, and so they've had to fight through adversity on many occasions, right? There's not many people in Fortnite that they can say they've been doing or playing with someone since 2020. We've only been casting for a couple months, right? We don't even go back that far. So these guys have been through it with each other, and they'll continue to go through it with each other. But this is a fight that makes me get really excited. Thomas and Tayson versus Lincoln Default.
Why is this fight happening? It's Storm Surge right now. It basically dictates, you know, you have to do damage or the server will start doing damage to you. It makes every single person on the map get active. And right now, Tayson and Thomas have not done enough damage. Maybe they were prioritizing position, looting. They were really looking at other teams. As a result, they're 111 damage below every other team on the map right now, under that threshold. They have to really be forcing this fight. Now that lightning will start to strike. 25 damage, I believe, every 5 seconds. Tayson really needs to start pushing in and maybe getting some work done. Thomas up top, they'll have to go through their shield reserves. The other players can't actually hear the noise or see visually that lightning striking. That's just us right now on broadcast. That being said, if their shield does crack, Lincoln Default will hear that. And now Fox is completely open. Walls gonna be
how swatty are you?
And shot through as well with those edits. Tayson is gonna be low at 54.
How swatty are you?
Actually, it's going to be good overall.
Yes, sir.
They're going to be looking fine. Down very fast. You want to be like 200 above. That's a good spot to start.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because we saw them early in this game. They were posted up on a hill. Looked like they were sort of just looking to wait for players to start rotating.
Are most of you sweaty?
There just wasn't a high enough volume of players, right? That congestion.
You're like a buddy, let's play.
And so you see the alternative is to just try to look for a team to box out. But like you say, the other team knows that they're desperate, and so they won't give them an inch. Lincoln Default, they look to control the pace of the fight, slow it down. And
bro, I got a white superhero.
Similar to what we're seeing here from Direct and Waffle there, just being forced to chunk it.
No more squads, 1v1.
Team, but there's no one there, Direct. Maybe look a bit more to your right and you'll see something.
It's just tough. This is one of those teams I was talking about, you know, some of them were playing underground, starting from the dirt, getting a lot of eliminations towards that end game. Chaos and Wildfire were just driving around in cars in like the 7th, 8th zone. They were having fun. Felt like they were just
Heavy
watching,
shotgun is
kids
better.
at the trampoline house jumping around.
Is it
And
heavy?
it was getting them points too. It was
Yes.
nuts. They kind of slowed down towards the end of the day overall. I think they hit all the way towards second or maybe even first overall. We're looking at points towards those earlier games. Now, though, this is tough. I mean, yes, they're surviving. But look at their inventories overall. Heals is going down, down, down. When does Surge end? What's the concept? Might be asking. There's a certain player count that needs to be achieved by the lobby. This first iteration that we just saw, it's 70. So now with 69 players live, it's going to just turn off. In a few more zones, it'll be back up, and the server will require 50 players to be up and alive. So right now, there's 19 more than that is needed. And Chaos and Wildfire know that. They know, with the EU being this stacked, with DAY2 coming in 11, there's just no way that players are going to slow down and not, go down at all. It's going to be tough for them. They need to get this damage.
Yeah, even though it's turned off, they know they need to do more damage, otherwise they will run into more issues later on. And it gets more difficult to deal with it later on, where everybody in the lobby is more congested together. There's less opportunities. We're seeing a replay from Rescard and Scram, really in the thick of it. And this is what can happen, the chaos that ensues when teams are fighting for Surge. Stormy, right, wasn't able to escape it, and he will go down. This is the kind of thing that happens, Shia.
And that's a top 10 team as well. Just
Box
imagine,
myself like a
rolling
fish.
with the day. You have the game plan. You're
Nice.
as well. Their plans are just amazing. They just seem so dynamic. But they're going down to the pressure. If that team is going to be unable to struggle inside of one of these, situations where there's so many boxes around, I wonder what things look like for Lincoln Default on your screen, for Jason and Thomas. Look at the map right now. Everyone's just waiting. Just one A hard shooting on the map at the moment. Everyone else is focused on that rotation, and they pop the peppers. They start to move. That gives you a huge speed boost. And they're off on the waist. No one's even looking at them. Almost in zone. So close to being flawless. Link makes it in, though, and defaults beside him. That used to be the trickiest thing for this duel.
I told you I got easy dubs!
By that movement, but they overcome that hurdle.
Yeah, and they're
Can I
actually
get
in a
this?
decent position. I think they wanted to maybe get a bit further in on a bit of a higher elevation on the hill. But where they are at, they'll be alright. They'll be able to hold some of the teams behind them trying to get their way in as well. And that extra damage will do wonders for them. And that's some pink now. That's the only player with a final PR in all 4 years of FPGS history. Look, there's so many great things I can say about this player. Truly is someone who I feel is underappreciated.
The great of the lobby
Joe Biden
is looking for the bottom up, looking to fix mistakes. Pink and Anas, I feel like one of two duels right now next to Goals and Clown who don't want to switch anything up. We're on top of that ladder of chaos, looking down at all the destruction. They're in first place and they want to stay there.
And on the left of your screen is Henning Creasy, fighting for that first place spot. Currently sitting in fourth and holding teams in.
Hey yo.
This AR in hand, and of course the legendary version is going to be great, but in this scenario I'm sure we'd much rather have an MK, a bit more of a higher fire rate, to just continue to really just squeeze this team in. This is where you never want to be in the lobby, isn't it? This is so difficult to deal with when you just have everybody forcing you back against the zone.
I'm destroying the sweat here.
Well. Your mats will slowly run out and you will fall, and that's exactly what happens. And this is great because Queasy and Hen can now go collect that loot as they tunnel through.
Nice creativity.
Very nice to get a refresh for them. Now we see the perspective of a situation like that.
Disable the window!
Slow down on Surge, 248 below. One player only has around 200 HP, and a lot of the players around him for the moment.
Go for your poo!
So I'm not sure where he's going to find this. About to all in, two players, a whole duo by himself with this loadout. Yes. Those shield bars. I'm not sure if we can confirm any eliminations. He's now fully run out of heals, shields as well. Wildfire's going.
These kids will get destroyed because they're trash.
One of the first games that we saw.
Make a wall, make a wall.
Yesterday, he's looking really good right now with DKS in terms of position.
Now I feel it. I feel like the other team's gonna win.
Passivity. And when that happens with this duo 11, I don't feel like they ever end up waking up. So this might spell disaster already for their endgame.
Yeah, I like to think that they're in a much cooler mindset than usual. But they may be forced to really turn the tide of their game. Because staying below is just only going to force them to tank through more of their resources. Bad Sniper actually will go down to Chico.
Just shot me in with him!
He's putting a solo cut.
Dude, you're so trash in the game, you're actually not gonna actually somebody.
The gauntlets will give him a couple extra charges to move once the zones start moving.
The box fighter looks easier.
If anybody figures out that this guy is a solo, you can be assured
That's
his
way
time in the
easier.
lobby will not last too long.
A clutch in this position is literally the reason why some people win FNCSs. It's the difference maker when you're a solo. In the top 5, in the top 3 with your teammates. Third place right now for DKS and Bad Sniper. All he needs to do is survive. You're noticing people going down in the field.
What is those C5 golden XP?
A placement point almost allocated for DKS. 147. He just wants to live and just expend those mats. Stay alive. Meanwhile, Link, same story. 154. Just ahead of that third place team. Depending on who goes down first, you might see a kick in the fourth.
So, who's winning?
I'm gonna win. I'm TikTok famous.
Yes, TikTok. TikTok.
I even made a song.
Okay then. What's your TikTok then?
Well, the thing is, people don't find me by me telling it. That's not how people find me on TikTok. They just go to the search tab and stuff. Yeah, this looks way easier.
TikTok.
Mine?
When even are you anyway?
What?
Yeah.
See? Is Recon expert an expert? Nope. Recon expert is not an expert. What? What is it? That's dumb. When I can destroy even old renegade raider, the door skin ever. Mother. You're missing your mother. You know who you're missing? I know who you're missing.
No.
Wait, what's the name?
Kylian Mbappe. I want to be with him, no. Kylian Mbappe. Prête ma besa. Allez, dico.
Is diarrhea.
No, angolo. Cante. Maestro, keep him back. I'm gonna just over the show. Allez, dico, Madrid.
Everyone knows.
Kylian Mbappe. Read him, wish him. Kylian Mbappe.
8 cats.
Kylian Mbappe. The third party from Spider-Man. Google Web.
I'm Spider-Man. I'm Tom Holland.
Oh. And anyways,
famous. Look up Tom Holland on TikTok.
These two.
If it doesn't work, it lags a bunch. Because of how famous I am. Have you seen my movie?
They just solved that problem with 2 shots and a big pop. That's what I like to see. Vortex with the spray and sure to follow up, and now they control that little bit of a low ground.
Look at their puberty base. Meanwhile, our base. Whoa! Someone breaking into our base!
He's gonna go for the other Trulix. That's a double shot. He's down. Chico is in the next one. Pablo might go for the re-end, and there's no chance for that revival.
What are their teammates said?
He dodged the words of inside Pablo to move into this labyrinth. Can he solve this maze? Art's
What
killing
the
the retake that Toos has to deal with, and they're not even running out of the mats. I'm not sure what type of treasury, what type of economy this entire duo has, but it's going to be split in half. What a shot from Toos, catches the head. This man only hits the most prime pursuit shots he can find, and it's lucky that he had all the mats as well. 4 different teams, and he's going to be the focus. Chopped down now by the Flame Boys back and forth. The fire's too hot. Toos might not be able to survive. He gets burned, and he's down. We have new high ground king.
Cerebral play from the Danes, and they are on fire. Swag and Pablo will drop down now to try and claim the first victory royale of the day. Swag will go down, and so it's left in the hands of Pablo. They've done so well so far, and now in a 1v1 against Janice, who won against Vortex. Janice and Vortex in a 2v1. Vortex is up, but with not much HP. Will he be the difference maker? Will he decide to go up and try and take Pablo on? Pablo trying to hold on. He doesn't have the materials left. He's dancing around in the zone. He realizes he can get Vortex. That's going to be the siphon that will come through, but will it come in time? 10 seconds. He will get it. And so he stays up. And now can he hit the crucial last shot? No! Janice will pick it up. They won game 1 of day 1, and they win game 1 of day 2. The German Giants come through again.
I can't believe it. It's deja vu, and in a way that's more special than that first day as well. Janice and Vortex, this is not a position where they usually win games. There's a little bit more sense of control overall. But Janice, the clutch minister himself, just rolls in, hits that big shot, and that's like the third one we saw in the end game. Toos was hitting them too. What a way to start off EU.
That was phenomenal from Janice and Vortex. Like you said, they're used to winning games on height, but they did it from low. And like we said so many times yesterday, these guys like to get in early, get their victory royale done quick and easy. Guys, tell me on the desk, how did that all break down? There was so much going on, so many of the top duos playing as solos. Break it all down for us, guys.
Number 1 or 7 in the grand.
Giant Wager and Lemon, thank you guys so much. Game number 1 or 7 in the grand scheme of
Chaos
things
as far as the eye can
my
see.
goodness.
I was very surprised to watch these solo riders, right? One of the 2 big files falling early, and then they just had to fight to find themselves. What happened in this game?
Final, but now Son of Day with another victory of similar fashion.
Player almost in the entire lobby having a role actually in the finals, right? Doing this one for this team all the way back in chapter 1 a long time ago, right? Actually going to deal with Vortex as a really key player.
A long time ago, right? And then teaming up with Vortex is a relatively newer player with
Look, I know it's sloppy. Really coming in with it, you know, other people might say, like, okay, well, I have the circle, I can stay with it. That's my only option. But when you're Janet, you're just like, nah, I know what you mean. I hit my shots, I'm good. So well fun from them. My goodness, I gotta turn my attention to the game flow. Wow. Earlier on that game, okay, the top 7 all fell, right? Well, now we call it okay, we're thinking the bottom end of the board start to shift up now, right? Starting to close that gap. Still holding on to and about right behind them. But now you've got Vortex again. They're like, hey, first place, what are you 5 points behind? What's going on? We got 5 more games. What are you doing?
Oh my god.
close to the top. I think everything you mentioned about when we start the game. I think something like, all 5 duels on top. I think only Alice and Pink are the only ones left there going on stage. It's kind of ridiculous, it takes up the standing and makes it so much more close to the top.
Yeah, particularly in that first move in the zone, it was Pink and Anas were the only team in that top 7 who were still in it. Was so close, but he ended up going down right at the start of that first move in the zone. It's like, that shakes up those leaderboards massively, but, we did see Vortex and Janice win game 1 yesterday and then fizzle out a little bit. And they're a very momentum-based team, and we saw that yesterday, so I'm thinking they've got the good momentum now. If they have a good game number 2, we're going to see, hopefully, maybe they can continue to fire up the leaderboard at the same time.
The Pink and Anas as well, my goodness. Again, like I talked about this all day yesterday, right? It's so difficult to kind of pick a favorite, right?
Oh, yeah.
The sheer amount of raw talent we have here in the finals of Chapter 3, Season 1. Now, I'm kind of curious to get your guys' quick thoughts on this. We don't have much time, but what do you think is going to change for game 1?
Change to Spider-Man here. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't know if they get this platform.
On that bus, so we're kicking it out over the sideways and 11K.
Thanks so much, Zeke, Boop, Reese. I mean, yeah, when it comes to just how that game 1 looks versus game number 2, many changes might have to be made for some teams, Levin, but
I kind of
plan 2, so those 2 fixes might start to clash.
Yeah, I do start to wonder, right, at what point do you really start to maybe game yourself out of the competition, right, where you're overthinking some of these things, right? We're seeing teams like Thomas and Tayson looking for better positions than they were yesterday, but it not quite working out. Is that going to play a psychological effect in how they approach the games now? So all the preparation they might have done prior to this might just be thrown out the window, right? These are all factors that will play into things, and to be honest, I think it just makes for more entertainment for us, right? Seeing all these changes all around the map.
Yeah, there is a message I can give to the players. That game 1 is not your entire highway lane, merely just a speed bump if it did go wrong. Now, if it did go right, keep driving, keep pushing forward. That being said, still, that was like the back of game 7, game 8 coming in. That leaderboard change as well is pretty mighty interesting. The late game to 11, a game of solos, we see it again today. Is that going to change the way, how things work towards the end game? Janice and Vortex, they stayed alive. We'll see in a second because game 8, it's live and it's happening right now.
We got 50 duos ready to go at it again for the 8th time this weekend. We're heading to Tilted Towers, a place we've watched quite a bit, with 2 duos who seemingly are able to coexist on the standings, but not in the POI. DKS and Bad Sniper will look to do what they struggled to do a lot yesterday in taking down Benji and Savage off spawn. But even with them struggling to do that, they did not struggle to get results and put themselves higher in the standings. You can see they're sitting in 6th. And they'll be feeling like they can do even better.
Overall, yeah, I think this entire drop spot has just been dictated by the glide, right? Over and over again, it kind of determines how your entire game goes, what loot you have access to. I feel like in terms of launch pad drops, that entire skyscraper tower, the big building in Tilted has a few more of those, and we see Benji Savage every time they claim it. Somehow they also get a pad. I'm not going to say scripted, but it rolls in.
I think we all know what that is by now. It's just the Doja fishing up, it's the Benji RNG. We ain't even got to talk about this. Anybody that knows compared to Fortnite just knows that Benji is just luckier than all of us. He harnesses the luck of the whole lobby.
That's what we'd like to see. I think Henning Queasy on the downside of that, because they've been searching for one for 7 games.
The downside of that because they've been searching for one for 7 games and haven't found one yet, but hopefully
and Joe through. I'm not sure what's going on, but
and then with Bino and Joe too, I'm not sure what's going on, but I think last game it was just positional mistakes, maybe surge overall that kept them a little bit further back. They maintained their 5th place slot though, but definitely want to see it go up.
We can't give those guys pads.
Yeah, I don't know what you said about Queasy and Henry. We can't give those guys pads, man. Pads, they'll just be way too OP. Right, we got them a tad there.
Gotta make it interesting, right? Have to have a nice final game. Now Clown and Girls, we see their drop as well. 2nd, 8th off the first one. But this time, it's revenge from that first game. That's interesting too, not being able to play a game from the very get-go. drops them 6 places overall. So maybe this time they can catch back up, but I would assume, you know, being top 2, you go down way further with the way the board's changing game after game.
Yeah, it's weird because, you know, we talk about the psychological effects that can, you know, come into play with all these duos, and you typically would say, hey, more experienced teams are better at handling that adversity. But so far in these finals, it doesn't even really feel that way. Some of our more experienced teams have been the ones who have struggled game to game. And the new up-and-comers, like those guys, seem to just be unfazed by what is such a grand stage in the FNCS finals.
It's all about just keeping those nerves under control, and at the same time, it just feels like as well, you know, not there being an entire team to take care of certain roles in terms of, you know, supreme shot caller rolling in. When it's just you and your teammate, maybe it's a little bit easier to attack the game, approach a certain situation inside duos. Saw Tucson Futric on screen as well. One of the only teams that are rolling in consistency every single game, 10+ points every time. And we saw in that last game, Levin, it looks so good. I feel like Tucson Futric, the advantage they have is they're a team that never hesitates. They see something, they push for it and grab it, whether that's a fight or an endgame situation for height.
Yeah, their execution is sublime, right? You know, when you talk about technically excellent players, you got to mention those guys. They really are always on point. And that's what gives them the advantage a lot of the time when it comes to those situations where you just have to be clinical, you have to be decisive. Their unwavering aggression just really comes into play. And maybe you could say the same thing about Drew here, really putting the damage down. Spots that player, misses the opportunity to get the shot though. Goes back in, there's a wall there. But he'll wrap back round. And this fight will reset. Stompy and Drew will look to go again.
Is this the right adjustment overall for the team of Stompy and Drew, 32nd place overall? Is the mid-game fight really the thing that needs to be added to their repertoire, their arsenal, start really pushing forward their games and get closer towards that top 20, that top 10 in this fight? But I think the issue with them is that they like these long drawn out. Drew apparently has like heat seeking built in.
See, but you've got to stay calm. Look, they're trying to take an isolated fight, and it's all good and well trying to take an isolated box fight to help, you know, mitigate the effects of Storm Surge. But if a team like Hutty and Swifty come rolling through, instantly, you know, things start to get a bit dicey, and you have to try to get out of that coop. And Frack, who aren't been, you know, bossing the lobby by any means, will go down to for doing a reason. They really just treat any duo they come across as fodder, right? They don't even take any regard of who you are or the fact that you're playing in the FNCS finals. If we want to fight you, we will get in.
Absolutely. There's a little bit of a difference overall too between them and Stompy, right? Like, it's just, you can see the difference in speed, lethality. It's nice to see. I feel like still the one thing we haven't seen is this duo just play the game. What have Hen and Queasy been doing? I've only really seen them on that top overhead, you know, view overall in day number 1, somewhere in mid-ground, trying to live. I just want to see that control ASAP.
Yes, we're seeing them in mid-ground, right? When you go back and watch a lot of their games from this season, I still think they are an elite mid-ground team, right? Like, they have the ability to boss it from there. But in these lobbies, I just want to see them on height. But it's been so difficult to take height, right? All of these teams who look to posture for it, obviously they've got to deal with the likes of Noah and Aqua, Pink and Anas, Thomas and Tayson. There'll be other teams that will look to get in the mix as well, even Janice and Vortex, once they wake up from their slumber.
Good. You know, Joe, I think they just took apart an entire duo inside Shifty. Now there's another one rolling in, so the waves will start to just come through. I think game 1 was a set game plan for a lot of people. There's Melody. Yeah, this is not Scram and Earth Squad, my friends. You're not expecting the same fight from game 1. Joe and Vino do not mess around. You see one, you will always find the other. They're a lot more closely tied to the hip. And speak of the duo, and they shall arrive. Scram and Revsguard are here, but I'm not sure they know if it's Joe and Vino. Yeah, they've seen the feed. They must. There's no one else really in this position. Who else, or where else will Kefi and Melody land? 60 damage from that spot. That's exactly what Revsguard wanted. Hopefully receive none, and they'll be on their way.
Yeah, and this is what it's all about, right? I think a lot of the time we'll see these teams make these all-in plays to try to deal with Surge. So if you can just sort of go about your business, pick away, 60 tags here, 60 tag there, 60 everywhere, you'll be well and good on the Storm Surge leaderboard, right? So hopefully we don't see these guys struggling with that too much. I feel like every time we get deeper into games, Shire, we're seeing these guys just ending up in these situations where they're just not able to be as effective in tight spaces, right? They're still top players. I'm not going to act like they're like old or anything, but you know, they're not back in their prime a couple of years ago where put them in the most difficult and tightest of spaces and they excel. They still do need a bit of space to operate in.
I like the fact that you're mentioning celebration and then now no longer being in your prime. That birthday for you hitting different today, eh?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're getting a little bit older. And, you know, what's your celebration today, Levin? What are you doing on your glorious 20th birthday?
I am enjoying the best Fortnite players in the world show what they can do. And it's funny that, you know, as we start talking about this, the best Fortnite players in the world are on our screen. Jason and Tom. Okay, let me chill out.
I'll allow it because it's your special day, all right? I'll allow it for one time.
Look, I think the big question around these guys is going to just be, are these guys still the best Fortnite players in the world? At any given moment in the past 2 years, really, if you ask somebody, who do you think is the best Fortnite player in the world? There's a good chance they're going to say Tayson or Thomas. This season, that hasn't always been the case. And so this is going to be their chance, to prove that they are still in that upper echelon of Fortnite players.
10th overall, this is the day that we expect them to do good, and they kind of have to because, once again, there is no day number 3. Lincoln Defaults, Chalker Speedway, rolling in. This is going to be tough overall. I mean, they're not even at that Desert POI, and they're still making this duo cry.
Yes, William and Lecce can't catch a break. Cannot catch a break. And I feel like every time Link gets an elimination, he just goes for the dance. Like, he looks to emote, show off some of the stuff he's got in that locker of his. Some impressive stuff. Thank you as well to production for the birthday message. Appreciate it, guys. The ones in the back.
Completely.
Yeah, you missed it, bro.
I'm just looking at the fight. I'm so sorry.
No, we good. We good. They work hard in the back and showing some love. I appreciate that.
I want to get a little bit of your bias here, right?
Okay.
If there's a present we could give you in terms of one duo just winning, is it Tayson and Thomas? Or is it your prediction? What does Levin's heart truly say? Expose yourself.
My heart wants...
What does your body want? What does your heart want?
My body wants Tayson and Thomas to win. I don't know, man. I love Tayson, you know? How can I not love Tayson? Lovely family as well. Mum and Dad wish me happy birthday, so, you know, big up them. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think Anas and Pink got the opposite end of a present when it comes to game number 1, losing that first place title, but they're not too far behind when it comes to trying to catch up. We'll see if it's possible. 171 overall inside second place. And they have to catch up just a little bit. 174, 3-point difference overall for the duo. This is looking kind of tough though. I haven't seen Pink take this much damage starting off a fight.
Yeah, they got to stay cool in this situation. Pink especially, you can see he's just stuck up against this mountain. There's not much room for him to operate in. And Nas does really well to get Vortexia down. And so Cast3 now in a 1v2 against two of the better players in the lobby.
You know, we can always rely on Cast3 and Vortexia to be like the mid-game mini-boss to FNCS. I think literally 8 out of 8 games now we are watching them fight someone new. Everyone is getting the Vortexery experience. I believe that Reese was saying on the desk. Like, I think every single time, it's on all sides of the board. It's so interesting to see how each duo kind of reacts to it. Pink and Anas also know about all the control they have on this side of the map. They can really force this fight and understand that there's no one going to be in their way when they go back to zone.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Those guys seem to be so erratic in their play style. I've met Vortexia in person. He was far from erratic. You know, very, just a very cool guy, quiet. You know, just sort of kept to himself. But in the lobby, in the game, he gets busy. Told you, man. Players really just sort of get into their element once they head inside. Can really express themselves.
seeing the perspective of first all the way down to 5th right now, and off that fight as well, Pink and Anas claim back their title. A crown is going to be shared this game, I believe, by these two teams, because Tusa Butrick are about to get through a fight of their own.
Benji going down. What is going on here?
I'm trying to make it out myself.
That was...
Butrick down 2. That's going to be huge. First place gone to Kinzel and DeCipto. So after that whole mosh pit, the entire top side of the board changes.
Oh, so... exciting, right? Lots of action going on, but can't really see too many winners coming out of that. Kinzel and DeCipto, of course, will claim that trophy. But yikes. A lot in terms of how this lobby will play out later on being determined there. Hen and Queasy just tinkering along the line of being above. They're going to need to do a bit more damage. They know those teams will eventually have to move, and so they'll probably look to try and hold them out as they make their way to zone.
For Bad Sniper and DKS, this should be best case scenario. Some of these end game interrupting teams like Tusa's aren't going to be in the equation when it comes to their high ground type of gameplay. Their control centered but peaceful retake on height and mid ground. They should be allowed to do that a lot more often.
See here, they're in a 2v1 against Mr. Savage, and they were actually the ones that took down Benji, so they knew Savage was alone as a solo, but you saw how slow they played that fight, right? Because if you're in a 2v1 against Mr. Savage, even though you have the numbers advantage, it is Mr. Savage. You don't want to give him an inch. Even that half a second that Bad Sniper had to 1v1 him, you saw how much it took of his HP just to tank that, and DKS quickly had to come to the rescue. So Benji and Savage will go down, but DKS and Bad Sniper not at tilted, but just outside of tilted, getting the best of them.
That's what I wanted to mention, right? The tilted towers off spawn beef goes straight to the grass a little bit off the POI, and then the Chonker Speedway conundrum as well ends up being finished a little bit away from that POI as well. A lot of these teams, it feels like on day 2, are identifying the patterns on how their opponents move, tracking them, hunting them down, and then taking them out after they have loot, after they have a little bit of a sense of how the game is going. So you're seeing those day 2 adjustments really roll by, at least side by side on these POIs. Now it's a completely new equation for Lincoln Default, a team they haven't really dealt with on either day. Rifle and Marion rolling in right beside them. Everyone's just kind of chilling inside the metal boxes down below. Usually all these trees are burnt down. I'm wondering exactly what's going on here, if someone's storm surge plans changed while rolling into the second day.
Yeah, we often like to see teams get rid of these trees just to give themselves more vision, better lines of sight to hit some of these shots. Vino and Jodo, they look like they're in a bit of a pickle. You can see the armored walls coming out to try to add a bit of extra protection, but that's not going to be enough. Joe will be knocked. Vino now with his back against the wall and not much HP. He's got the chug splashes. That's going to be a lot of quick HP that he can add to his tally, but ultimately he ain't got much time to work with regardless, so he will also go down. And it was different teams that took down different players, right? Like we said, these teams will sit in zone and hold you, stop you from coming in, and so that will be the end of their run in this game.
I'm liking these very interesting transfers of power. I feel like, I don't know, I have this headcanon in my head. Every time a team eliminates another one, they gain a little bit of, like, I don't know, the way they play. I feel like every time I see anyone take out Pink, Anas, or Aqua, they end up having a little bit more setup for height, or have that as a part of their personality in the game. Hen and Queasy are the ones that find Aqua. I'm not exactly sure where Noah Riley is, but that seems like a lot of loot for just one body. Might be both teammates. We'll see in just a second. Maybe Noah Riley is up.
Are you predicting a high ground masterclass then in this game from Hen and Queasy? Is that the Shy Ridge call?
I think so. If Aqua's not there, if there isn't like a, you know, mysterious beat people aren't used to in the lobby, because he did try to take high ground in that first game, and Hen and Queasy have a refresh at this point, with hopefully a rotation that goes well, I feel like they finally get to have a sense of control. They're coming in the same way Aqua is in terms of attacking this zone. This should be one of the best spots to take high ground whenever that's possible.
Yeah, and speaking of spots, these guys are in 4th place on the leaderboard. They won last game, Janice and Vortex. And if you watched yesterday's broadcast, sorry, I know I'm going to sound like I'm repeating myself here, but these guys really on the type of beat of, hey, we're going to do well in game 1. We're going to disappear for about 3-4 games. You guys won't see us. Then we're going to come back in like game 5 or 6, win, or just have a really big pop-off and be super high on the standings.
One game wonders, Janus and Vortex, at least on the super pop-off.
The funny thing is, though, I feel like there's this narrative, right, that, you know, maybe they aren't able to gain their momentum. I actually do think they're a very consistent team, I should say, right? I think one of the biggest problems they have is that they don't do a good enough job of mitigating the risk of some of these later zones, right? And so when they don't necessarily get favorable zones, they can struggle, right? They don't necessarily have massive adjustments in their game plan. They just get a bit unlucky with the zone sometimes and can't deal with that.
Adapting is literally, I feel like, more than 70% of these games. So if they are acing that 30% and doing it very well to where it can represent a majority of their points, cool game plan to maybe end up top 5, not to break that stride to maybe get towards that first place spot. We'll see some of the teams below on Surge going for moves, but you talked about narrative, Levin. The narrative of this game has really changed. We're talking about Hen Queasy with the comeback with some of these top teams down. Toos, Bootrick, Pink, Anas, and Aqua as well. Not going to be one of the top teams, or the teams that likes being on top in terms of high ground. 3 high ground teams and 2 teams high on the leaderboard are not alive for the moment. And I see Hen and Queasy next to Trulix and Chico higher than anyone else in terms of bases. We're going to have a very different game right now. Kinzel Decipto's alive as well and really thriving from fight to fight. They're the ones that kind of survived that entire Benji entanglement as well. This will be a very different type of game, and already we can see the flare is a little bit fun to watch from Queasy and Hen. They're moving in with the swings. They're looking pretty spry as they do so. At the front side of the zone with the potential now to build that base up towards the skies for height. They have everything set up. We talked about the other high ground base, Chulex Chico. Hen actually took down Chico while moving here. This man nonchalantly takes out the only opponents that were in a position to get the height, and they're bullying an armored wall. Is there enough time to get this down before that resurrection comes through? Absolutely. The pressure's there. That's insane.
They're going to keep it going as well. That's nice. Hen, an absolute powerhouse. He does it like nobody else at times when he goes berserk mode. And so we'll see whether this really is going to be their game to claim high ground with some of their opposition not there to stop them.
Yeah, that top floor, the penthouse suite, it is empty. Thomas HD, Tayson, you'll notice they're only looking up right now. They kind of have the scope of what's going down around them. Thomas is really focused on that base above, and now maybe on the people around him, maybe seeing who's not editing, looking for pads. They split it up. Tayson's going to be looking for the option to move out. They're not going to be able to flow smooth like water this time. They got iced up, cooled down, and Vortex is gone.
You've seen Janus have some crazy clutches, right? In the week where they qualified for the FNCS, Janus had a game like this from this point onwards as a solo, and he went absolutely huge. And so we'll see if he can do it again.
We always know that Scram and Rescard are going to be some of the duels that get picked apart at the very start. Janus not going to find a shot. It should be very important to land one soon, though. 158 below. That zone will start to strike at him from the skies. He finds one solo he can kind of bully, and he's really rattling it away. It's a duo, actually. He's making it look like it's a solo with the way he isolates these fights. Meanwhile, we look over at height. Hen and Queasy, the fact of first place for the moment. It looks like, how has this happened? How have they taken over the board? They're looking to maybe have a name in this game, but look, it's Alex and Andy. The people you never expect to take height, but they do, and they make it very difficult to retake. They invest so much to keep things alive. They're up. DKS and Bass Sniper tried to hold on to the high ground as well. They got denied. Who will reign supreme as Thomas HD and Tayson look to take height as well. They're going for the full retake. Janus on the right side is also trying to clutch. He finds a little bit of damage, but Thomas HD and Tayson, they have the clouds under their control.
They went into the back of the zone. It looked like maybe they were tanking a bit too much HP. Was it going to be worth it? At the moment, it seems like it is, because they have control of high ground, and this is where they want to be. This is where they will feel utmost comfort, and it's from this point onwards these standings look.
Janus still has second place under wraps for the moment. This man's basically using Shadow Clone, moves all around. It seems like I'm watching 2 players playing at the same time, building and still shooting at the same time, having pressures on both ends, but it's too much. Requires a lot of chakra to maintain. He goes down. Clown and Grolls now. He'll start to move in. Second place, they take it over from Janus. What it looks like, it's just a little bit of chaos on all sides. They have the mats. It's just wood. Totally reasonable deal on the same layer around them. This is going to be really scary for height. So many duels alive. A lot of pressure to maintain.
And you can see Hen and Queasy, they keep looking up. You know that's exactly what they want to do. But the material count is dwindling. You can say the exact same thing for Thomas and Tayson. They haven't got much to work with. And Tayson actually has got to be careful as he almost drops down to his demise. The armored wall for the extra bit of protection. But he knows that this team right below him is a hindrance, is a hassle. But Reason and Vidil now come from out of nowhere. And they have actually been able to grab height from Thomas and Tayson. Hen isn't going to be there. Reason is going to do a good job to sniff him out and send him down. And so Vidil and Reason have stolen height, and they might steal this from Thomas as well. He doesn't have much to say. He has no materials. Will try to slide out of dodge, but can't get out of the way. Vidil and Reason bulldoze the high ground team.
It looked free, but that team before Thomas and Tayson absolutely got trapped and scammed. Now Ref's guard down with Scram on the low ground, gonna be looking for crazy shots, and they're landing so much in a lot. Scram with the moves, but it's not gonna be possible for him to stay alive. Ref's guard now will try to make as much as possible from this situation. One pillar in the way of him, and a big shot from Clown. He actually backs up, and now Ref's guard might go down playing the placement. Clown not out yet. Ref's guard's trying to just do something from the spot. That shot and railing, but it's not going to be possible for him to stay alive. Now everyone's lost inside the sauce towards low ground. Meanwhile, up high, Vidil and Reason, they look just so free and fly.
Vidil and Reason, we always know that they're going to be good for one game. Yin and Yang, they are so in sync. And here above everyone, it looks like their game to lose.
This is going to be a nice little slow burn towards the end. Rifle and Marion, they have very good trap setting potential. Hit hard when they do find the angles. Reason and Vidil, though, we know they're game finishers. In a 2v2, this might be one of the strongest duels you can see, but look at Rifle and Marion jumping around. Doesn't matter. Reason and Vidil, they close it out. That is the game 8 VR.
Once you open up for a moment and give them an inch, they take a mile. You never want to leave yourself exposed against Vidil and Reason. Absolute legends coming through, and they do a spectacular job to get the victory royale. What a game for these boys.
I feel like that retake is a lot more impressive than the way they just finished out that game. Very default, very slow. I like the fact that they have the temperament to slow down and look for the shots instead of chasing them through. That's what they're historically known for. Just a nice game 8 overall, and now they're really high on those boards.
Yeah, that was real nice from those guys. A real big game in terms of the standings. They did really well early on yesterday, and now finally coming through today as well. Zeke, Boot, Reese, break that down for us.
Don't you worry, 11, that's what we're here for, and my goodness, the only thing cooler than going from 27 to now getting a victory royale, which is going to rocket them up those standings. It's his 11th birthday today. You're welcome, 11. I got you, bro. My goodness. So there you go. There you go. Wow. So coming in from 27. So this is like what I kind of talked about at the very beginning of the show, right, with the surprise win, the placement. To go from 27th and ending that game in 17th, right? Now we're starting to say, okay, we can start striking at top 10, and with every step, they can continue to rise up the standings.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many teams good for high ground this game, with Tayson, Thomas AC, Queasy at head. There was a bunch of these big boy players over on high ground trying to crank it out, but, you know, I was following with Vidil and Reason today on Twitter, and they said we didn't get a single zone, and this time the first east-side zone, I thought that we better win it, and they did, so they delivered on the promise, thank God.
That's pretty good. It's interesting also, but it's the first game we've actually played as a duo in my eyes, too. You know, when you look back to a lot of performances through the qualifiers, you know, basic all of them, through all these these guys are actually play solo and endgame, it seems like. If not, well, I mentioned just the kind of they work through, just messy, they hit their shots, they're just paid off left, right, and center. This is one of the only games we've seen as a duo, and they are fragging, and they now have the opportunity to take high ground. So if they stay this way, managing to keep together as a duo, shadow each other, play together, man, this is scary for the rest of the game.
Absolutely insane, man. I mean, once again, I don't know why everyone is deciding high ground, we all want it, but I mean, high-profile duos are getting pushed out of high ground, right? Nos and Pink, who we thought, when we have only almost exclusively seen in the high ground, right? And now these other duels are kind of making their way through and saying, look, we're down to fight for the high ground right here, right now. Pablo and Swag as well, my goodness. I mean, again, there's just so many of these, I want to say, like, small tech that's happening across the games, right, Boop?
Yeah. And you saw that Pablo and Swag, why we showed them taking that card there, because they took Pink and Anas's mobility. And that meant that they were late to rotate, with Texan and Castry catching them off guard in zone. And that caused them to rotate very slowly and late.
and you saw them, they got caught out, caught lacking, and that small little issue of Swag and Pablo taking their car ended up in this, down in 29th place. You know, just those small things in spawn fights can just have massive butterfly effects. And it is scary because, you know, all these other guys are coming back up towards the leaderboard, and, you know, now you're down.
Yeah, and also you got to think the other people who are impacted by that are Thomas and Payson, right? Thomas and Payson coming out of that drop spot, having all of this mess around them, capitalized on that, actually did well on Storm Surge for once, and they were on height. Obviously, they weren't able to capitalize on the victory royale aspect of that, but they did manage to have a good game because of it.
That's right, I love it. Reese, let's take a look at We saw one of them go down, and the other was just sitting there. They were out of materials, and they had to make these plays in the low ground. But it's kind of fine, Reese, right? Like, as long as you hit placement, you don't even need eliminations, really. You're just trying to hold on.
Well, you say that, but they have the... Bigs are fragging out like a low ground team should, right? Historically in fields, when you see teams on the low ground, they're able to create such a good target and capitalize on the players who have low HP, low materials, pick up tons of eliminations.
Is feeling really confident because everything went wrong yesterday, and they got fifth. Now come into day number 2, and you know something goes right for once. You know they got zoned for once. That is so scary, and I think we're about to get a Hen and Queasy show today.
It should be in there, my prediction, let's be real. So I'm hoping for it intense to see their ex-teammate Trulex, who has been consistently in the top 10 throughout the past couple of days, move over to that next page. And Blex and X-Squeeze, typically a player who is a day 2 team, doing the complete opposite of that so far. A team who's now actually doing significantly worse in the second day, starting to drop down from, what was it, 6th now into 11th. So they're starting to go down the leaderboards a little bit.
Yeah, and Cammy and Teague, they're in 12th place as well, as it pains me to see them struggling in this final. Not really sure what's going on with them. Maybe, just not having as much preparation as they should.
Could even be nerves, right, Boop? Like,
Possibly.
Today is a much, way more difficult, like, in the competition, right? Yesterday, you kind of had this day to be like, okay, well, let's kind of set up for day number 2, but if you're not coming in confident, your duo is going to struggle, right?
Yeah.
And especially with things like Surge, you know, it's like if you're already struggling and you're like, wait, we don't have a Storm Surge plan, it's not gone our way, you're just not. Listen, you guys have made it to the finals, okay? You're the very best of the best. Let's just keep our heads down, let's focus up, we got this, all right? We're going into our next game here in the FNCS. This is Europe, and we've got Shy Wager, we got 11-2K. They're standing by. Let's go say hello to them.
Guys, I'd like to formally let everyone know, after this event, I will no longer be casting because Clown and Grows have proved that even if you don't have the top experience, if you put in the work, you can do well. So with that being said, I'm going to be looking for a duo. Hit me up if you think you're good enough to play in the FNCS finals. I'm down. I'm ready to grind next season. We go.
Okay, Lemon, let's do it. I might just join you on that journey, but we'll have to play on like a region in between EU and NA. Maybe, I don't even understand how that would work, but regardless, they still have to put in the work because we still have a few more games to go. That being said, every single one of these 11 is getting kind of crazy. It's either one where the top are thriving or they're out before the game even starts.
Yeah, it's one of these games and days where honestly, you really go into every game with whole new expectations in terms of how will things play out, how do the dynamics between the different POIs work out. We've seen a lot of fights happen that we'd expect to happen in POIs, maybe happening across the map in different areas as well, right? Really, really fun and exciting stuff in the FNCS finals.
Yeah, and Boop brings up that butterfly effect that happened off spawn for just a vehicle, right? That could happen from game to game as well, and then just go across your entire 2 days. So we'll see people trying to bring it back. I feel like Kepi and Melody overall as well on Shifty Shafts dictate who gets into that end game. We saw the damage Refsguard and Scrammed. If they weren't there, 11, might have been a very different game. Genesis Clutch could have gone completely differently. It's just these little decisions that just change the destiny of the FNCS.
Yeah, and trying to now like path that out and interweave that into how you actually think about your analysis is very crazy, but that's what Fortnite is, and we have much more of it right now.
Game 9, a little bit of a halfway point for the second day, and we're rocking straight towards the drop. Bukazesson already landed. They'll be up against Clown and Grolls. Grolls already taken a little bit of damage. They've spread apart exactly where they are, so we already see the adjustments. It might just be that glide. And I understand this might be a dope way to play the game, you know, just try your best every single game and see what you can do in terms of eliminations low ground. That's what we're seeing from Grolls and Clown over and over again, box to box. But if you can only play half the games on the day, I'm not sure if it works out really well.
Yeah, maybe they heard me and they decided, look, Levin, it's not that easy. We have to really work as well. It's not as simple as just jumping in and thinking you can be first in the leaderboard. Seti going down in the feed, Joe also going down. It's getting crazy at Sleepy. As we watch our first place team, Grolls and Clown. This fight moving a bit slower pace than what we've seen in the previous 2 games. Pukano trying to change that, picking up the pace a bit. And Grolls has got to be careful because he doesn't have materials. All he has is the pistol with a couple of shots left.
Pass to just land every single one in a double spray. He's not going to find anything from both players. I don't know, look like Destiny's going to jump all the way towards the top and maybe try to control things, but they should be a little bit lower on mats overall just because they're expending so much to travel around this building, trying to get that control. They are the ones farming more though, it seems like. Found trying to find a flank from the left side, jump shot not going to land. Grolls then being beside him. I think everyone's just confused. We're really looking for, what, a perspective of POV or no? Just get all the swaggy inside that truck. It'll be tough for them to land shots back if he's not actually peering out the window, but he decides to just get a new angle with this. This is so cool. There's no way they can actually rail too many shots into that truck because it takes a lot to actually make it explode. He's pushing even more forward for it, actually making so much room for Zestin to find the last chest. And then they get out? I don't know what type of dynamic call this is. This truck is moving so slow. The most awkward, and it looked cool at first, but not as cool disengaged. I like it though. What a creative way to kind of attack your POI.
Yeah, definitely a creative disengage. It's weird because when he initially just sort of hopped out of it to take some shots, I was a bit confused. I was like, bro, I'm assuming you're getting in the truck to get out. Or are you just using it to play with the angles? I'd like to think not, but they eventually do lead. And so we'll see how this game plays out in terms of Grolls and Clown. What they have to do in terms of damage and surge moving forward deeper into the game. As we said, every small engagement, every small interaction has its implications. We might just be watching one of those. We'll text you and Carceria team we've been following quite a bit. And I'd love to be able to say it's because of their endgame prowess, but it's because of their mid-game madness. They really have just been involved in so many of these fights mid-game, and they just haven't had a lot of them go in their favor just yet.
Who's the next target? Who's going to be rolling in? That's the question. They kind of affected Pink and Anas's game, and that affected everyone's because with them at high ground, it would have been very, very different. We'll start that fly and glide though. Kind of taking over that Pink Anas mountain. I'm looking for that surge before, you know, the Kings of the lobby do themselves.
Back over towards Sleepy, where Vino doesn't have Joe. And I don't think Chapix has Seti by his side, just because I did see Seti go down in the feed a bit earlier. Of course, there's always the potential for the reboot. I don't think that's just happened yet.
Vino's going for it.
Yeah, and Vino's got to be careful because he knows he can be heard. And Chapix is just sort of sitting there. Will Chapix allow him to get him? I think that would probably be a mistake in this case. He wants to keep this at a 1v1. It's probably for his best. But Vino will just keep prying away. And at a certain point, I think he might just be successful. I think he wants to stick it. No, he won't. He will back off.
This is like the weirdest turn-based battle simulator I've ever seen. You know what? On one side is Vino, almost out of like moves to use, out of stamina. Chapek's at the top, just like using the same move over and over again. Complete impasse. I don't know what to make of this.
It's funny because even at like a more basic level, like we've all been in these sort of scenarios in Fortnite, right? You're trying to reboot your mate, but the guy you're fighting just won't let you, and you're like, bro, just fight me or let me reboot. Like, pick one. Don't just sit there and stop me from rebooting if you're not gonna fight me. Like, yeah, I'm sure Vino expressing my frustration as well. PKR taking out Kiko.
Okay.
That's a fight we saw today. Marine over at Chonkers out of Butter Barn. So it seems like these guys wanted to get involved in the madness that is Chonkers Speedway. It didn't quite work out for them, so I don't expect to see them continue to push that in the latter games.
Not expecting to see Benji and Savage in another situation where they kind of lack overall control, but it's going to be against Bad Sniper and DKS, who have delayed this engagement. I think this is the smartest thing they've done, day one versus day two. Some of the things they were doing on day one is either taking the engagement instantly, in which case they were basically losing every single time, or just not taking it at all. They have changed things now. This is the second game where I feel like I'm seeing them just side by side, waiting, getting a loot first, and then attacking Benji and Savage.
It's interesting. It looks like Benji and Savage have been the ones to push towards the south side of Tilted. Maybe they want a bit of revenge, right? It was last game that DKS and Bad Sniper took them out. It wasn't in Tilted, but just on the outside. And maybe that impulsiveness will pay off, or maybe it will be what sends them back to the lobby again, because you know there's another team sort of lurking in this general area. It's not going to be a clear-cut 2v2, which most people probably would expect Benji and Savage to win under normal circumstances. But in any case, this is far from normal circumstances, right? The pressure is on. Not many more games left to determine your fate. And T-Chips and Artskill, a duo who many of us had big hope for in these games. They've not quite been able to piece it together, landing at 7 Outpost 2. Swag and Pablo have mainly been the duo that have had success from this side of the map. But it's in this game where they have an opportunity to turn the tide. Swag is fending for himself. He's low on shields. And eventually he'll run out of builds as well. And when he does, that's what will happen. Artskill will deliver the finishing blows.
I feel like that's the only way you can really stop the Flames boys, right? This is one of the duos that just stay alive inside the end game as teammates. And if you have that type of quality, it happens all the way. You know, you just get to stay and have as much placement as possible. That's what's really been well for them. T-Chips actually laying a trap down. They had 3 edits on, like, I think 2 different walls there. And then Swag taking apart as an individual. And man, they're going to be frustrated off of that one. You can see the emotion right after the elimination there. It's tough because that's the only way you can really break them down. You have to try to lay this trap and take them off early.
And they've done such a great job of it beforehand, but to be honest, there's 12 games. You can't be perfect for all 12, right? And I think that will be sort of the message there. I know their coach, Nick, will be watching, and so maybe he'll be able to pass the message on to them to keep their cool. They've done so well up to this point, and they shouldn't allow that to derail them.
Talking about not being perfect, Girls, Clown, same exact type of story. Yes, they're a lot of the times inside the top 5, but their games are just seesaws over and over again. I mentioned this analogy a little bit yesterday. It was more for, you know, people's surge plans overall. Through the pressures we see for this team, see the top 5, they're double digits, way back in the way. 27, 4 when it comes to Girls and Clown. And, you know, they've kind of broken that pattern, it seems like, in this game overall when I'm looking in. So far, you know, not going down at the start of the game.
Would you call it inconsistency? because
consistent inconsistency.
That's what I was getting at, right? I don't know if I can call it inconsistency just because they consistently do that. Right?
You want me to say it, don't you?
I do.
They're walking right now. They're basically a walking paradox for the moment, right? Mobile, moving around in ways that shouldn't be possible, back and forth, and somehow they're in first. The actual embodiment of that statement.
When they write the sacred book of Shire Asia, I can't wait for the verse about walking paradoxes. Wow, beautiful.
It's a close one. It's a close one. Toos, Hutrick, one of the most challenging players to fight, one of the most challenging duos to cast over without messing up their names. They'll be rolling through. Just too slow. He's going to try to find Putrick, get him back up. Janice and Vortex. Also kind of not in the best spot. I don't know how they approach this game. You've mentioned them a little bit, talked a little bit, Lebanon, you know, how they roll when it comes to mid and end game, but it just seems like they're struggling 24/7.
I think the big thing with these guys is just being able to put themselves in better positions deeper into the games. I don't really worry about them. I think they have a very consistent early to mid game, which is what's made them one of the better teams in this lobby. Oh dear. Two's trying to get a reboot at Greasy and will be stopped in his tracks by none other than Vidil. But on Vortex and Janice, I genuinely think that these guys have gone under the radar. It's the reason why yesterday I said that they are a dark horse team. And I actually think they're one of the most complete teams in the league. I've seen them win on hype, I've seen them win on low. And they're comfortable in both. Vortex have nothing but positive things to say about this young lad. Honestly, so talented, right? I don't know how Germany keeps producing all of these like crazy, berserk, firepower, talented. It's just crazy. They have way too many. I think we need to check out what's in the war in Germany. I don't know.
God on the other side, he puts us in our faces, that's our whole lives, we wasted time.
On both sides, and they are going to go down again. That's why they need to keep and fracture. You're always somehow in the business and going down, but it seems like once out of every 5 games, they affect the boards in a major way.
Yeah, right? If they're going to go down, they're going to drag someone down with them. And this time, unfortunately, it was Genji and Savage. Honey and Tifa are being dragged down as well themselves. They've got to be careful. These guys will probably start to rise up in the standings as they find a bit of consistency. Another example of a team where, when you're analysing them, they never really have many negatives to say.
Not at all. And right now, Zestin's going to be in position to be low on Surge overall. 12 teams need to go down before it stops. Them and Hookah usually have everything locked down and fine off of spawn because they have 2 full eliminated bodies worth of damage, but they disengage this time, so their entire story changes. 50 below, we see Vino and Joe actually flying away. They'll get rattled on a little bit, have to sacrifice a launch pad from being in this position. That's because they've been stumbling their way through mid-game. Nothing's really been organized. They're going to lose a very important ingredient for their endgame rotations. Zestin and Hookah will try to use it as well, but you know, once they hit this pad, Joe and Vino, along with the rest of the lobby, will be looking to beam them up. There's first place right now, Hennet and Queasy. Looks like they might have got a few picks. Oh, we saw Rolls and Clown fooling around. And Zestin is going to be on their walls, desperate, but that might just be a free elimination overall for Queasy if he just lands that one shot. I think they understand exactly what's going down. They have 5 seconds actually to get this shot, and they don't, and someone else picks them up.
And that,
no. That right there is going to be possibly a tough situation for Hennet and Queasy as well. I was slightly surprised in that instance and moment because I felt like Zestin might have attracted 3 different duos' attentions to Queasy and Hen's spot. I just saw a triple spray start to happen and wood walls living, so that's why I was surprised.
Well, hopefully they won't have to worry about that as the zone starts to move and they will have to follow. There is always a potential to be held when you start to move in. And you can see Teak and Cammy looking to force one duo away just so that they can use their pad. I like that. Pressuring them into rotating for you as they follow in, but they've got to make sure they keep their distance. They're going to land here on the brick, which is nice. They can refarm it, get the material count up because they are struggling right now. Some would call this shambles. They need to get their map count up if they want to have any chance of really going deep in this game.
And the tough spot about this is that it's not the Sanctuary, it's not the Joneses where they have a little bit more brick available. In terms of Clover Cavern, on all these mountains, everything is so far apart when it comes to farming. There are no bases you can really hide under. It's literally just natural mountains. Plus, some of these trees are just the big ones where if you chop them a little bit, that log falls down and it's impossible to farm without chasing after it. You can't really do that in an FNCS lobby.
You can see Ryzen and Phoenix on the right of your screen. This was a team that many people said, look, DAY2 didn't have the greatest of success day one. Are they going to start getting a bit more aggressive DAY2? Considering they're dealing with Surge and they're trying to out-heal it, I think the question, or the answer, sorry, probably is no. But when will that penny drop? When will they realize that they really do have to try to take the game by the scruff of their neck if they want to start rising in the standings, which they are very capable of doing, as they've shown throughout the qualifiers?
I think every team's kind of in that position just for this lobby, specifically for the zone. No one really in the next safe spot. Just two duos who nearly crept their way in, with everyone now on rotational duty. I'm not sure exactly what happened to Kami's box there either. Just really deleted as he starts to build it. It's a big tree that falls in his way. They're already down bad on mats. Not have that extra box. That's going to hurt that duo a lot on the top side of your screen. We're going towards that cavern as well, so Tayson and Thomas will just stay inside for the moment and make sure everything looks hunky-dory before moving out. I think Cammy and Teak might have missed their window though here, Levin. Everyone was moving. They were too. That log in the way makes them slow down a bit, and now they're not safe to move. It'll cost them mats.
The problem is that there's nowhere really to refarm in the zone right now, so if they want to get themselves back in this game, they're going to have to do what they did here, right? Get an elimination of some sort, but trying to set that up will be very, very difficult. See what was going on in the zone. The reason why they were so late to rotate out of tilted Marine was the thorn in their side, and so he has inadvertently made their game very, very difficult. They won't just have to climb the covert mountain, they have to climb the mountain in the standings as well, because they've still got a ways to go. Tayson gone from looking like he was in a pretty comfortable position next to Thomas to just 33 HP.
Have a little bit of friction inside this cavern right now, but it's going to be fine overall. They have everything locked down for the moment. I'm just concerned on their departure flight when they actually have to leave. How do the skies look? Because right now it just seems absolutely stormy. And speaking of which, him and Kiriachi right now, they actually picked up a few eliminations of the feed themselves. They're looking good to be, you know, based up right now inside somewhere in the circle and zone. Kaizen finds a few. Kinzel as well is having a few eliminations. Cammy finally down to Kaizen actually, and Resguard and Scram actually get splintered apart. They're already bad on Surge. Look at the bottom left of your screen right now. They went through a few shields, almost 2 inventory slots worth of, and they're both still getting sprayed. Scram loses his entire blue bar trying to protect Resguard as he heals, and now they'll invest even more materials in their spot to try to base up. But as I pay attention to that mini-map, they actually do get a little bit of luck on their side, a little bit of a chance to breathe. Meanwhile, no Reason in the deal. They're getting just dropped inside their box. 76 below, they're bad on Surge, but Reason has an angle to just completely start to spray. Now he's slightly above, but he's lost his teammates and he's stuck in the river in the depths, swimming with the fishes.
We know their plan for Surge is to get in, right? But if getting in doesn't work out, there's not many options for you to actually get out, and on that journey, the deal will be taken down. Reason now left as a solo as a result of it. And he is just barely above now, but will he be able to pull off the same level of clutch as one of his German compatriots in Janice from last game? We've seen Reason do some crazy clutches in the past in different modes, in different FNCS competitions. And maybe this might be our classic Reason clutch moment, but he's got a ways to go. Scram and Resguard have their ways to go, but they covered that distance relatively quickly with the gauntlets, and now they can set themselves up to maybe try to find a refresh of some sort.
Has to be an all-in for them. No bluffs in this situation. They can't really go toe-to-toe with a team over and over. Have no hard mats whatsoever, only wood. That means as they move, they will be very vulnerable to shots on all walls. Meanwhile, looking at the state of the game, Noah Riley active right now, taking out Wallflar. a man who likes to move around freely, somewhere towards mid and other times just jetting towards height. Looks like they might have some control. Scram though, caught sleeping on the wall, does not actually have protection. No, it's pre-edits in the way that aren't letting him build. He goes for a few shots right back, but it's Floki and Clement that jump in the box and take him down.
Yeah, and that's the complete opposite from what they needed. Refsguard will be left to solo clutch, and we're heading to another endgame, Shire, where we got a lobby full of duos, but so many of these top duos will be forced to play as solos. And if you can say as a duo as Clown and Groves will look to do and have done so well, this could be a game where they amass so many points and just really start to gain a lead, which is something that nobody's really been able to do in the FNCS so far. And if it is the most inexperienced players, it feels like, in the lobby that are able to gain that lead, it really will be a crazy story.
That feels like all the kings are butting heads. Meanwhile, the newcomers to the castle start to fly and swing on their own terms. Clown and Grols will go a little bit more low groundy. A few misedits on the right side. I'm paying attention to them right now because they're basically in first. They kind of dictate who gets to have the lead for the moment. Vortexa and Caspery, though, if you pay attention to the left side of your screen, do have a little bit of control in the entire lobby. They're up high on this mountain as Blueback flies by them as well. Refsguard starts to swing. Clown is kind of attached to the same builds. He's inside the zone, actually making sure he is building the pathway for Grols to follow. That being said, Bill's on the right side, barely even theirs. Grols not ahead of them. They start to be in the same box. Shouldn't be even allowed for them to be in this position, not taking much damage. It's a harpoon play. A nice grab at the floors of the duo above, but he's not going to find much for the moment right now. So he's going to completely break through into that tarp. This is crazy. They don't have that many maps, so they have to basically go for this big push and the refresh. One player escapes from the left side. There's one isolated towards the right. Clown now moving backwards in his build. We'll tune in with that in just a little bit of a second. That's Huddy he's fighting for the moment.
Yeah, they have to commit so much into that, right? And so moving forward in this game, the all-in play will have to come out at some point. But Carson will take to just sort of waltz their way up on high. There hasn't really been anybody to really contest him up until now, and Carson will do a good job of getting control. But for how much longer can they hold it? They've got the web shooters, they've got a decent amount of builds, but just below them is Queasy and Hen. We know how cerebral they are. And there, Grols doesn't have Clown anymore. And so just as a solo, what can he do here as a zone? Continues to just push along this ravine. Can he hit one of these shots, get something to keep him in the game? The 3 builds that he has aren't going to be worth much. And he knows that. And so the med miss will come out, try to heal up, at least give himself a HP advantage, but it's not looking too good for him.
Hen and Queasy still alive. Queasy taking a lot of damage, though. Hen's going straight for the high ground by himself. Big shot onto T-Chips. That'll quiet him down. Grols, though, is still here, making the line that Hen and Queasy have to hit be that much further. 220 plus points, and they're still going for the clutch. Bad Sniper also alive, 3rd place overall. He hits a nasty shot onto Floki. Full refresh there. Grols is still putting pressure down on any body that he sees. This is just crazy for him. Doesn't have a harpoon to hit those mats anymore. He's still alive with 1 HP. Finally down. 229 points is what it is there, basically, to hit a 4-point differential for just Hen, as Queasy is gone. He does have high ground for the moment, but I see Thomas, I see Tayson, the diving in boxes right now. As soon as they realize this is a solo on height, they can just completely switch frequencies and go for that higher spot on the lobby.
Yeah, they had all the pads in the world, but they aren't going to be on height. They are sitting down on low, but they are perfectly fine. Oh dear, Bad Sniper taking out by Hen. He's only a solo on height, but he can hack it. But for how long? Because Tayson and Thomas have taken it. It's moved up the hill, and Hen went down. The Freezy was the one to take him out, but Tayson and Thomas sitting primed and positioned to win it all. There's nothing anybody can do. They were the first to climb the hill, and they will be the kings of it.
That is what you like to see. One of the cavern zones, and some people that land there that control the destiny of the POI that win that game. Tayson and Thomas are on the board. They're always good for that special one.
It's taking them a while to get there, but they finally do it, and the cavern zone as well tops it off. These guys finally starting to look like their best selves, and this is when they needed to do it. We're wrapping things up very, very shortly. They need to hold on to this position, but a brilliant game from them.
The thing I like the most about Tayson and Thomas here and just the entire endgame, very top heavy in terms of who was hitting the elims, who was actually moving out and about and placed inside that top 10, that top 15, right? So when it comes towards those leaderboards, it'll be a pretty big switch. How far do the game 9 winners climb, though? That is the big question. Just an amazing game overall inside the snow, inside the ice, no sand this time. So I'm wondering, is the desk freezing? Do we see some nice chill plays? Zeke, what you got for us?
Shy Wager, you know there is zero chill when Boop and I are right. That's right. Boop, we're doing it. We're rising on the coattails of Thomas HD. That's right. Tayson's here with us too. We got ourselves a win, boys. We did it.
It's always good to be correct, especially when you beat V-Sub at the same time. It's a perfect day for me.
We'll see when the leaderboard flesh out, because we're going up against Squeezy and Hen there in the last moment. I'll have you know.
It's true. And, you know, once again, we're just seeing this battle for high ground, right? No one is just, like, happy to let it go by. We saw it change over 3 times in that last little bit of the moving zone there, starting with Castrine Vortexia, going over to Hen, then ending with Thomas HD and Tayson. Now, they did get these low eliminations, and this is actually something you talked about yesterday, Boop, was that even if they do find themselves a win, we're not going to see some crazy, like, double-digit elims, but they're still coming through, and now this means they're going to jump up from top 13 into possibly top 5.
Yeah, I mean, winning a game is good enough regardless, right? You just want to keep on buffing out those points, and there's actually an interesting statistic coming out I saw on Twitter for, like, Kinch Analytics. Now with his victory out, Thomas HD ties Anas for the most victory outs in a finals at 8. So, you know, those guys sort of going up there. You know, Denmark is going, you know, they're making Denmark proud, sorry, and, you know, it's pretty impressive so far from them.
Yeah, and I think one of the... This is basically the exact same game we saw yesterday, but with Pink and Anas still in it, right? This is one of the victory royales that they had. They were on height of 5th zone. Flip that, because Pink and Anas went down early, it was the team that took their place in the drop spot. Vortexia and Castry up on high ground at that point. And it's like, you know, you see the quality of a high ground team by the way that it's executed there. Vortexia and Castry weren't able to, for guys like Thomas and Tayson to obviously pick up the victory now, whereas if Pink and Anas were still in that lobby, who were first going into this, you know, that could have been a completely different shift.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And even seeing, like, the top 1 team, right? Clown, they're rolling around, just managing to stay alive. Right? Even in those situations where one of them is left alive, they are still just taking every single point they can, right? And that's like a mark of a strong duo, a consistent duo. And right now, they have eyes set on first place.
Yeah.
Right? It is these small micro advantages they're taking that could mean that they actually walk away winners.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much potential things going wrong for them. Like, who can zest in there, contest them. You know, they landed on a bush in one of these games and, you know, came out. Like, they ran away with the truck. You know, they did so well here. And this is what I love about duos, is because solo clutch potential is just so easy. Or not easy, but, you know, it is just there. And, you know, if you have a good and confident player like mentality, his spirits are high, you know, anything can happen. And that's what I just love about duos. It's so exciting that way.
Absolutely. Look, I want to see the leaderboard today coming into it, because obviously Grove and Cloud were in first coming into that.
Okay, I like it. Let's take a look at the standings. We'll talk through this. This is now the halfway mark, okay? Just think about this. After the next 3 games, we will decide the overall winner. Hen and Queasy are holding on, though, right now.
You know, you're saying, oh, Jason Thomas, HD, they win. It's so much better. But when you look at the leaderboard, Hen and Queasy are in first place at this moment. Let's go. I know Mum's going to be happy about that. She's predicted them.
I mean, they're close by, Thomas and Tayson. They're so close by, so don't put them out yet. You never know. You never know.
It's true, you know, man. Girls and Clown doing such a good job, though. I'm with you. You know, we just hyped them up a little bit there. A scuffed game off spawn, still managed to make the most of it. Basically, if they go down off spawn, it's a 0-point game, obviously. But even if they get off with nothing, like we said this time, they're still able to make a good game out of it. And that is something that there's barely any teams who can say that about their own gameplay.
I'm just blown away. You know, a duo coming into the first FNCF final, this stage in the competition, and they're hanging with the very best, right? And they won't let go. That's the crazy thing as well, is like, whatever happens, they're just like, no, we're gonna make sure we are as close as possible. As we flip onto the second page, here they are, Pink and Anas there with 179 points. And I mean, you know, Boop, with 3 games, anything still can happen, right? We could watch any number of these duos fall immediately. And that has been kind of like a big factor that plays into why we're seeing them in the end game. Some duos, they just do fall early, right? And then the shoot inning happens. But if it doesn't happen, man, we're going to continue to see this lead build.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you have 6 zones pulled to the west side, that gives everyone so much ammo to VOD review exactly where you are, right? You know exactly that Pink and Anas are going to be on that hill near Covert Canyon. Covert Cavern, sorry. Let's just all avoid that draw spot because we don't want to get tagged up by them, you know? And that's a big issue for them up again because they're a little bit predictable.
dominating so far until the towers. You know, we were talking off screen there, but we not waffling. Correct. Yeah, they're in 21st so far. Set about getting contested the majority of their FNCSs, but the teams now who are contesting them, like EKS and Bad Sniper, are doing well in the leaderboards.
Yeah, you gotta make the most of the situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, dude, they got bodied off spawn, right? Like, and it's just happening, right? Like, and it's okay, it happens, right? These are the 50-50s we talk about. Sometimes it's gonna go one way, and sometimes it's gonna go another. But these are high caliber duos, right? If they know this is gonna happen, just take a step back. Just be like, look, I don't want to fight this. Like, I want to make it to end game, put our drop spot, and then just bail, right? Like, we're gonna see Benji and Savage come online very, very soon, right? Because they evolve over the course of a competition.
Hope so.
And I'm excited to see it. We hope so. We hope so. 57 seconds here on the timer, so we're going to get back on over with Levin 2K and Shy Wager for the next game. Okay, and Shy Wager for the next game.
In English class, Levin, right? I learned one thing, which is you can't spell duos, right? The word duos without Hen and Queasy. Would you agree with that fact?
You know what? When I just look at it in my head and I try to piece it together, I think that does make a lot of sense. Yeah.
You gotta mirror it, right?
Yeah,
You gotta translate and then retranslate, right?
Yeah.
It makes sense. We're talking to each other behind the scenes. We don't know how it's happened, right? They're not the most, in terms of flashy duo in terms of both days, but they're here and they're in first.
I think they've just consistently been able to make it deep into games, which is something that, to be fair, you can't say the same for a lot of the other top competitors in this lobby, right? A lot of them have sort of had, even when 11th, 10th, they're able to pick up a couple of
at number 10, and we have Double Trouble up on the board with Hen and Queasy. 235, they have a little bit of a lead, but it seems like every single time we have a battle for the top spot, it's merely just 5 or 7 points that separates those big teams.
Yeah, we're heading into Tilted Towers, which has been a point of interest over the past 2 days. And I'd like to formally apologize to DKS and Bad Sniper, because as I think most people thought these guys would be the biggest losers out of this POI, right? Benji and Savage. Clean and efficient more times than not. And I think most people thought DKS and Bad Sniper, they don't necessarily always do well in FNCS finals. This time though, it's a bit quicker than last. Clown will hit the crucial pickaxe shots, and just in time for the res as well.
Try not to get a little bit too much faster. Funny to watch, but now Clown's actually stuck inside the room. Can land 2 big shots, but barely even has any match. The more time he gives Clown and grows, the worse it goes for him. And yeah, there's minis involved. This is going to be bad. Ammunition though, low overall. And as soon as I say that, he finds a super crate of ammo. So Clown is now back in business. They have a medkit popping as well. I was going to say for Hen and Queasy, one of the things that needs to happen is maybe who
Ну, что вы делаете? Этот как его? Ну, это который записался. Он в течке записался, он не записался. Ну, он, я знаю, что он не записывался. А кто это был? Ну, этот, как его, это худой.
Ира, ты будешь кушать? Да.
Я не знаю, брат. Ну, это... Блин.
О, вон.
Нафиг мне уже не нужен. Можно его убрать и вырвать. Как его? На Д, как его?
О. Йоу.
Oder so ein...
Bitch. What? I don't know any of this shit.
Walking around the entire map, picking up houses, spots, grass, trees, rocks, whatever they can find to make their base. Greasy should be baited soon and taken over. Phoenix down to Lecce in the feed as well. Zandy majorly active, and Awesome Pink are on the hunt. They realize 84 below Surge, not the best place to beat. It's all good. Pink finds a few to maybe get less stressed now. Just one above though. Man, 91, I haven't seen this player count number in a long time at this point in the game. Third zone almost locking in, and 21 players have to go down.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely insane. Like, we're going to have like 7 minutes worth of replays to even see everything that goes down. The amount of players that are about to go down. Oh boy. Pink and Nas, you better hope you aren't one. But you can see because they're below, they're going to be forced to get into a bit of a fight here. Scram and Risk on the right-hand side of your screen as well, in a very similar position. And this is where things get messy.
Awesome Pink have fallen down the board so many times. They can't afford to lose this fight at all for the moment. Really chasing down this final player, but the lower they go on this mountain, the more eyes start to pry on them all the way from above. Pink cannot land the shot. He is down. Scram takes down Belusi as well. Some of these old lobby leaders are just not finding their stride in day number 2.
And you can see Pink and Nas, they ran right into Tayson and Thomas. And those guys weren't in as much of a hurry, right? Because they were able to get that elimination early on Mirza. And we talked about how that would eventually pay off well for them, and it did right there. They're able to eliminations out of that one, but the damage is enough to keep them afloat. Vortex and Janice, though, again, this is why I rate them so highly. I just never really see them in trouble. They're so good at getting their surge dealt with, and now they're going to take a bit of a control in this situation. And against Lecce and Twilliam, who had their fair share of struggles, this could be a defining moment in their game. This could be the game where they finally wake up. We talk about how they're constantly sleeping giants. They'll hit a couple shots here. Janice will hit some. Vortex will chip in 2, and Lecce and Twilliam will be taken out. And again, they won game 1. They've been a bit quiet the past couple games. Will this be the one where they start to get loud again?
They need to have 2 hit singles in a day. They keep just dropping one banger plus a mediocre album. They really need to start to level up, and this has to be that side view we all love to watch right now. Karma and Bubak, they started all of the carnage off. First elimination on that zone. Thomas, HD, and Tayson, they were the ones that took down a Nos, and it looked just so good. Look at Thomas. Look at the confidence. Stride back and forth. That's what we like to see.
Brings a smile to my face. Seen him in his element there. Hope to see that for many more years to come. Clown and Grolski chilling, positioned in zone now. The vehicle was able to just get them in here. It's in a bad position as well. They're relatively elevated, which means they have some lines of sight on some of their other teams. You can see Clown taking some shots towards Teak, who isn't quite in yet. That's one of the benefits of just sitting in a high elevation, right? You have more view. DKS, the only view he has is the one of Bad Sniper, because he gets taken out, and Bad Sniper, all he can see is enemies in front of him in his pathway to zone. Deceptus and Kindle will not let him go easily. Again, another example of 2 teams from Tilted interacting. Nowhere near Tilted, though. These guys are bound to each other.
Literal elastic bands around the ankles of every player that lands over at Tilted Towers. And it snaps back. It hurts hard. Only one duo really ends up walking out past the mid game. This time it'll be Kilzel and Deceptos to see exactly what they can do. There is a Psycho Clown in this box right now, and everyone is scared. They do not want to be a part of this surprise party. Grohl's already down, and this is exactly also what Hen and Queasy need. This duo on your screen to get erased before that 5th zone comes in. 43 seconds, Clown has to survive. Guaranteed he'll find possibly a little more placement the longer he stays alive in all these boxes. But once again, 800 mats. He's gonna have to just expend all of them to stay away from the hunt of the duo above.
Yeah, and I'm surprised at how they're even in this kind of a position, right? They had nearly max materials, it seemed. And so even if they were, you know, in a bit of a pickle, I'd expect them to sort of commit their mats to guarantee their safety as a duo to stay alive. But Groves will go down. Clown now as a solo, and even if he isn't initially taken out, for him to solo clutch will be very difficult, but he has to, right? The longer he stays in the game, the better it is for his chances in the FNCS, because if he goes down early, it just allows Queasy and Hen to start to build up even more of a lead, tarnishing all the hard work they put in so far.
Absolutely tarnished, and right now Clown is just maidenless for the moment. Only just has a car, no duo to be by his side. 110 above surge, but I would imagine the entire map is like this. Random builds all around, boxes built up because it was a 30-person surge. So many duos split apart, but look at Clown, Honey down. This is nuts. No duo should be allowed to just have a free elim like that. He has the track. Ing just online 24/7, and that just looks so good from him. He's gonna go straight towards Swifty as well. Look at the coolness of that slide. He gets the shield down. This man is in a 1v2, and he's making it look easy.
What a brilliant understanding of angles, right? He's one of the players who is struggling to make his way into zone. There's a bunch of teams holding him in, but he puts himself in between Swifty and the players in the zone, and that allows him to just get some shots off. They're more worried about the teams holding them in from in front, and so he was able to just sneak in slightly behind. But that's all good and well, because even if he does deal with Swifty, he still has to deal with the players in zone holding him, and that's a much more difficult task. He barely is able to get in, but that next rotation is going to be even more difficult, Shayo. The medkit coming off is all good and well, but this is just going to be such a mountain to climb. Is he going to be burned as well? Oh my goodness, he can't catch a break right now.
The grass is going to be converted into suit right below him. It's all good. I'm looking at who else is alive and what trades are going down between all sides. You have to understand, with that 30-person surge, once it ends, the effect of it doesn't. You might have one duo down. You might have a position you didn't want to be in because you had to push a team, and now you don't know what to do with it. So many people are caught in random crossroads. I think Joe and Vino were one of them. They're still having trades. Liza and Mirza were the ones to try to take them head on. I think they went down, and Joe has to go for a reboot, or at least a revive. And Queasy are on something that shouldn't be built or allowed in this zone. And Queasy is hitting shots that Hen should be hitting right now. Both these teammates are just in sync at the moment, in one of the best spots in the game. Look at all the damage they're dealing too, just controlling the lobby. No one even near this amalgamation of a build. Thomas HD Taysom, very different from their sides though. Third place.
Yeah, this has to be a really good game for Queasy and Hen. They're positioned so well up above. And it just means you have so many options. No matter where the 6th zone will pull towards, they'll be able to get there with a relatively clear pathway, or at least the vision of where that clean pathway is. Taysom and Thomas maybe not necessarily having those same level of options, but they have the launch pads, which obviously will give massive benefit as they move forward in this game. But it's all about the next 10 seconds, where that zone pulls. You can see the launch pad being dropped now as well to Tayson. Thomas trusts him completely with the sole direction of where they go. But Cammy has nobody to trust. He has to just trust his own instincts. Gets the wall, couple shots. PKR, Nappy, backs against it. And this is actually a great opportunity for Cammy to maybe pick up some elimination. He hasn't got shield, so the siphon will go a long way. But he's got to be careful that he doesn't overextend, and that's nice. The mini. 25 HP, it will help. Doesn't get you the mini.
That right side, maybe even take over that Tark Cammy. A game of inches. And right now for the entire server, that's basically what it is. Trying to come back after the disastrous surge we had at the start of this. Cammy obviously just left by himself. A bunch of other people maybe left with less mats, left with less ammo. For one team, the story is different. Second place is basically down. For Hen and Queasy, all they have to do is try to push this lead as far as possible. They're starting high ground on the 5th zone, and they're looking to keep it for the moment. Frack is going to be denied a chance at being a little bit of a retake warrior or a nuisance to everyone. He's going to be chilling. I thought Thomas was going to land on that target, but he's not either. He pushes all the way towards the front. Who can stop Hen and Queasy inside this game?
They've done such a great job of diverting all the teams who padded, all the teams who maybe would have looked to hide. You look at all their names, so many of them you would usually think
would look to try take it, but none of them could. Queasy and Hen hit the crucial shots to just divert them away. Cammy, though, in the back of the zone in the top right, almost... Trulex shut down.
Reason joins the battle. He's moving forward. Vino also down. Trulex goes away to 2. Stressguard and Scram. They're going to make sure mid-ground is theirs, but it's Karma and Bubak, 2 statues who won't move. We're going to be in the way, so Stressguard actually goes towards a completely different art gallery. The left side is going to be a lot more about nature, a lot more about builds that are not placed down just yet. Hen and Queasy, though, lost inside. Second high ground for now, or second height completely. Toos is still finding a bit more in the feed. Bubak stops Kinzel inside that mid ground. Meanwhile, Kirachi Stormright also active. This is 5th place that is still in the game and can look to catch up.
And they've done such a great job, right? While all the chaos was going on above, they've really been one of the few teams to actually have some control on low ground. And so now, whilst the Shambles teams look to drop down, they will hold it and they will have opportunities for more limbs.
Loss of control on height. Meanwhile, Thomas AC goes for the chase towards mid. Their box though has been overtaken, so he is going to be having to vacate from home. Doesn't matter. Rid of all the guests. Thomas is insane with the damage. He lands 6 different shots and they all hit hard. The beam is there to follow as well. No ammunition. It doesn't matter. Thomas AC with the moves. Vidil and Reason down. Janice gone as well. He's taken out every single big name and he goes down. But that's 8 fat eliminations under his belt in the feed.
How does Thomas continue to do so many things that just blow my mind, and he has a teammate that can do the same. Tayson will connect to Malibuka. He gets the elimination. That's the HP he needs, and the time as well. The separation to get the minis off. These two have no limits, no bound. They will continue to impress, and they sit in 1st place.
They looked at the leaderboard and they wanted every single elimination inside that top 10. 4 teams now left and Tayson is a part of the mix. You have to be careful. Give him an inch. He'll take a victory royale. Moving in low HP. Has a chance to pop a mini. It looks good. Reason's the one who's all the way up top by himself as well. It'll be a solo brawl and he drops first. Reason's there with the beam. Tayson denied access to the endgame. Denied access to the clutch. Reason might take the entire power of him though and be able to use that clutch factor for his own. They've gotten 1 win so far today. Can they do it again? Gabix is down here as well. You're actually storming right towards the low ground. All Reason wants is these 2 teams to fight and then maybe drop down in the heat of the night, maybe take away that VR for free.
Yeah, Kiriachi and Stormright, they need to stay composed. They've done brilliantly to keep control on low ground. It's been a tough battle. And even with all the chances they've had, they still run out of mats. And no, Gabix will get down. Shmeki also will be gone. And Reason now has a chance to sneak his way in. But will Kiriachi and Stormright be on point? Reason dropping down. We've seen him clutch before, but can he do this 2v1? Is it too much of a mountain for him to climb? He connects with another shot there. Reason needs to be careful. He's the only one in the zone, but the time is ticking.
He has a little bit of a delay, lots of space to work with, and a few more mats. Kiriachi down to the zone, 1v1 for Reason right now. Stormy right down to the low ground. He has a lot of control of all those low builds, but Reason has a lot of say in this fight. 1 tree farmed as well. Stormy right with the med mist. They'll be looking good for now, but it's going down to the road. No more nature to be able to work with. Reason drops down onto the concrete, looking for the first shot, but it's denied from builds from Stormy right. It's a 1v1. He's backside in the zone, maybe looking for a chance to take over at height, a different angle. Reason sees it coming. Builds here, and now Stormy right has the high ground. It's flipped on sides. He has no builds to work with, and that costs a lot of his HP. Reason with the final shot. Is this real? Not just yet. The spray is there, and it's good. Reason and Vidil, 2 wins. Kneel to this duo.
How does he continue to do it? No matter the mode, no matter the season, no matter the FNCS, Reason will clutch up as a solo. He does it time and time again. He never disappoints, and they deliver on another victory. Our Reason and Vidil are on one right now.
It's just crazy, and they're the ones to take down Tayson and Thomas, who stole away so many points from that end game as well. Remember how this all started, 2-11, right? Head and Queasy were the ones in first, up top on the high ground. Thomas HD ate everyone, and then Reason makes a clutch happen against 2 duos. It should not be allowed, but that's what happens when we reach game 10. That's what happens inside the finals.
Yeah, we talked about how these guys, when they don't have to deal with Surge, great things can happen. They were able to get through the early and mid game, and when given a chance in the end game, like you said, give them an inch, they can take a victory royale, and that's exactly what they did. Desk, oh my goodness, this is starting to get intense. Please, I need a moment. Break it all down for us, boys.
Levin, do you think that I'm not panicking? Do you think that I'm not freaking out right now? Okay, I'm in the back. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. What day is it? What time is it? Where are we? Is this EU? Is this NA East? Is this NA West? I don't even know where we're at anymore. My goodness, I cannot believe the DAY2 team of Reason and the Deal. They have come online, Boop. They have taken every experience that has led them here to finals. They have manifested wings, and now beneath those wings rises the current that helps them rise up the standings, baby.
There we are. I think he's managed
so
to disappear.
Scared.
He's so
it was so good
by what we've just seen. He's gone. Stig. But in all honesty, look, the best players pop off when it matters. I feel like in that game we saw every single like stereotype you could think about EU. We saw a Thomas HD incredible pop off, a Tayson being the best player, Kiriachi and Stormy right deep in the end game, and an incredible victory royale, of course, from Reason. Looking at the leaderboards right here, that's actually pushed Reason Deal up into 10th right now, so 199 points for them at this point. Chico still staying there. Look at the top 3, top 4, top 5. We've got 2 more games remaining, and these are the kind of teams who are consistently getting to every single end game in day number 2.
Sorry about the guys, that game had me petrified. Oh my goodness. I was under a spell. I was locked up. I was terrified. I don't know what I just saw from Thomas and Tace about Reason. I was going to say Reason is one of those players you can just always rely on to clutch. My man has that gene inside of him. He is ridiculous. And you know, they're coming back, you know, finally, and in West Side zone now, so Video can't even complain about the zones because they did win on that left side as well.
Man, just look at this though. Like, I know the big victory came out from Reason, but Thomas HD alongside Tayson are the highlight players. When we saw Thomas HD go down into the back of zone this moment right here, just the eliminated bar just wouldn't even leave. It just kept popping up. Knocked, eliminated, knocked, eliminated. This is why you get a guy like this on your team. Someone who has the best aim in the region, if not the best aim in the world. He doesn't need builds because he gets 5 eliminations just hitting every shot.
How does he do it? And that was the most eliminations we've seen in a final in EU at 11. I think before that prior it was Kiriachi and Stormy who had 10 in the victory royale yesterday. So, I mean, just by himself, Thomas with 8 eliminations. They're like, who can stop this guy?
Well, we'll see. We'll see when it comes to the next 2 games at the same time. But similarly with Tayson, right? We've seen a huge clutch from him at the same time with Thomas HD popping off. This is what top-level FNCS championship teams are made up of. FNCS champion quality players from solos, from duos, from trios. It does not matter what it is. These are the plays that win you tournaments.
And I just got to jump in, Boop, because now you know what's happening.
Yep.
It's me and you versus Reese, Levin, and Shyway. Right now, who would have thought that we could have scripted it? I mean, guess it. No, this is a complete fluke. I cannot believe this is happening. But Reese, you're right. 2 games left, right? And anything can still happen. Anything can still go wrong for any number of duos. But I love how they're capable of just saying, whatever's going to go wrong, no. We're going to minimize that as much as possible, man, because we're going to make it to that end game, and then you're going to have to deal with us.
I think one of the important things to note here is like a 9 eliminations for Elbow. I'll just say 10 just to make math easy. 62 points. Like, there's a huge potential for them still to win if those top teams go down early, and they can capitalize on that.
I'm stressed, Bliss. I'm so stressed. We only have 2 games left to go. For everyone watching in Legends Landing, you guys got to use your favorite emotes. If you've not checked out Legends Landing, swing by. Drops are enabled. But right now, we're about to drop into this next game. My little heart can't take it. Shyway for Levin.
Hey, so someone help us first, right? This is a 2-way tie, first place. 265 points with two teams with very different agendas, Levin, different ways they play the game entirely.
I don't know why Ziggs can act like it. Isn't it rigged, right? All the zones going towards Coma as well. Something's going on there. Now, look, on a serious note, right, this is really starting to get hot, right? In terms of just some of the way some of the things lower down in the leaderboard, even how these things are developing, right? Benji and Savage fans, I know they're probably getting a bit quiet now. It hasn't been quite the best day for these guys, but when you look up above on that leaderboard, the battle for first place now, this is what it's all about. This is what we've wanted all season long, and we're finally getting it.
Might not have it this game. EU has a little bit of a consistency, broken pattern, so to speak. Every second last game, the top 7, the top 10 disappear. It becomes a game for everyone else to catch up. It's happened almost every single FNCS. For this penultimate game, what will be the result? Find out right now.
Game 11, where everything really starts to set up for that final game. Stakes are being set. Players' dreams are being made. There's some players' dreams who are being crushed. Grows, Clown, they've done so well up to this point. In the past couple games, these battles off spawn just haven't been so clean. But will they turn that around now against Zeston and Hookah? Clown above has a shotgun to his name, but not much. As Grows looks to get on the aggressive.
Grows has to basically be that fence that separates any type of aggression from their opponent's share of this POI. The moment he stops applying pressure and slows down, the moment he doesn't punish any type of peak or shots, that's where power kind of shifts over towards Hookah and Zeston. They're going to be higher on shields overall, a little bit more mats to deal with being inside the entire base for the moment. Clown and Girls have to actually be a little bit more split apart while they loop up. Could be an opportunity for Hookah and Zeston to peek out and land a shot, but you see what Clown is doing, actually making a literal offense, just having a perimeter to be able to be active so these guys don't have a free way out of this POI. They're peeking up and in as well. Hookah finally going up for one of the shots. Huge ramifications if Grows does go down. They have one of the first shield cracks. Zeston's also still on the wall. Okay, Grows clapping right back. It's not enough. He goes down. Unfortunately, all left up the Clown. He has a little bit of a beam, but Zeston actually ends up surviving. This is going to be tough. Is it a 1v1? Yes, it is. Zeston has to go for a little bit of a shot. Clown now full HP, has a few mats to deal with as well. And going straight towards the skies with this one. A little bit of a cone slide coming in, so no access to a little bit of the elevation from that side. Clown has a little bit of an opening. Yes, he follows it. I like the fact that he chases that cone that he placed up top, and now he knows that there's no bills on the side of Zeston. Nice jump up and good breakdown. For some reason, these guys are surviving so far, Levin. Being contested, they're up on the boards, but it's Eddie and Chapix who are collapsing in on this fight now.
Yeah, and I was going to say, this has huge implications if they're able to stay in this one. That's going to be the setup that they sort of need to propel them in this game. But with Seti and Chapix rolling up, he's got to get out of there and quickly, and Clown will do just that. Seti and Chapix missed the window of opportunity, but they will actually connect with the vehicle. They blow that up, and with not many builds, Clown is fortunate that he is right around the corner from a little mini forest here where you can get some wood up, but I don't know if they're going to give up on him now. It doesn't seem like they will. Swifty coming through. Oh, wow. Yeah, catches him right out. That's not the kind of bush you can hide in, my friend.
Not going to be possible. Swifty picks it up. These games are getting a lot faster now off the drop, and it's Bad Sniper who's actually down first. So the classic day one style of moves are coming in from Savage and Benji who wins this though. Okay, DKS. You picked that one up. Pick up Bad Sniper as well. Somehow, engagement, the first Elam, is not going to have enough of a say to actually get his duo out of the way from Tilted. And Benji and Savage are down.
I'll be real, Shy. I think they've lost it. I think they've lost their head in that sense where they just it's the way they're pushing these fights even, right? They're just so split up in that sense where they're just allowing DKS and Bad Sniper to take these isolated one-on-ones. It's not great at all. They were doing so well yesterday, but it's just not looking too great now. Look, still life-changing money on the line.
and plenty to play for. And so hopefully Benji and Savage can get back into the right sort of mental state to continue. But they need to realize now that as much as they may have had success pushing that fight in previous sessions and days, you don't want to mess with DKS and Bad Sniper anymore. They own Tilted right now.
Got there rolling in with, I guess this is Melody actually the entire time. Kefi. Not going to be here with Dan. I mean, this is the fight we saw break out multiple times earlier on in day number 1. Maybe at the start of everything, but unfortunately neither team really finding too much success from these early game fights.
You talked about how that Shifty fight was so influential in sort of how things were playing out. Not necessarily because the players necessarily at them were the ones dominating the leaderboards, but just the dynamics around that general area of the map and the players coming through, rotating around, their ability to third party and get some tags and just capitalize off of it. But this is a team that's been able to capitalize finally off of the advantage that they've had coming out of Covert. They've had a lot of zones as well in their favor, which will always help. But finally starting to deliver. Thomas looking like the best player in the world in that last.
You talk about zones coming to their favor and happening again and again. It seems like in this great, but I feel like it is above that cavern. I see every single piece. Could be good for a Pink and Os comeback as well to figure out what's going on wrong in day number 2 overall. For Jackson and Vico, we saw a little bit of them so far in the first game. We did have one Sanctuary zone, I think, overall, where they had a little bit of control, but lost it quickly. We'll grab a little bit of loot here and there, upgrade up. Looks very nice. One of those mid-game fights we see. I don't think either one of these duos has been too influential other than, like, you know, maybe some of the Surge fights we've seen so far.
Yeah, and in terms of this fight, I definitely think Vico and Jackson have a clear advantage. Of course, they have the elevation on their side, but they are really aware of teams potentially in this general area. That's great. Potentially stops them from getting third party by Shmeki. And they have so much ammo that they can really just sort of pick away at the materials of Kiko and Mosh. Stompy and Judo, just outside of Bugle against Kaizen and Niaizen. And are they just sort of camping it to try to see if they can wait for these guys to come in? I've not seen one of these plays in a while, Shayo. But it looks like Niaizen maybe isn't going to come inside. No. Will he? Oh, I can't watch this, man. I'm looking away. I can't. If they walk, they get out. They get out. Wow.
The Rebbies had each other on the boards as well, so that is an influential fight for them specific, right? 36, 37th overall. If you talk about prizing, they want to get up a little bit to that top 30 echelon. They get a bump, $1,000 at least per duo. Everyone's trying to hit that top 10 though. That's where you see one of the biggest ones. And everyone outside the top 20 is trying to get into that cash as well. For Lincoln Default, they want to stay in that top 10. 11th place overall right now, and they are having trouble. This is not the duo they were expecting to face off against. Andalex, X-Squeeze moving in and really backing them up against the wall. This is like looking like the edge of the earth type beat right now. I don't know how they're fighting so far down, much further in their game state to be away from Chonkers by this point, but this is unfortunate. Default has a little bit of an angle, but it's a total bait from the side of Andalex and Squeeze. They just turn around and beam him down as well. This will wrap up very soon. That could have been a shot. We see Letchi. It's all in here, 11. All of Chonkers is going crazy.
Yeah, Default and Link totally off it there, right? Link was such low HP, and you can see because of his HP and Storm ticking down, he wanted to force the issue, get in, but Default had a shield kick, right? You could have just placed it down, slowed down the pace, but instead he rushed it. Then Default misses a key shot, and now look, he's stuck in between two duos with time ticking down. Can't even get the maximum benefit from the shield keg, and so there literally is a timer on how long he can stay in this game. 5, 3, 2. He's gone.
0.
Oh dear. Misplay, and look, as we are in the penultimate game, things are getting really intense and you'll start to see these tiny errors and mistakes be made, but they really do cost you. They squeeze though, and Anderlecht in a fight against Lecce and Swilliam. I'm sure they won't mind taking this fight against these two, but they got to be clinical, they got to execute it well. I believe they have the H of their own. There's so many in the south side of the map, like an absurd amount, so not surprised that both teams are carrying those, and it just means that they have a bit extra time to stay in the zone. Lecce and Swilliam though will leave, rightfully so. They've had their fair share of mid-game fights that haven't gone their way, and so Anderlecht and Squeeze will be able to move on.
What I'm sensing from this game compared to the one right before, frustration, pain, sadness for a bunch of teams. It all amounts to them not being as strategical. Remember, we saw 97 people alive at this point. Everyone was ready with the game plan. And for a majority of teams near the bottom of the board, it seemed like they got a little bit boosted all the way towards the top, right? They had some nice games. They were dealing with Surge in creative ways. But this time, you throw that all into the trash bin. Everyone is back to just being aggressive, going for these storm fights. And that might be good for certain teams that don't do well with maximum pressure. Stormy right, Kuriachi, yeah, they're adaptive, they're dynamic. Throw two teams into the mix of them, though. That's where they start to struggle. Very good on 2-on-2s. But with that third party, it's always looking like they're down bad a little bit. Pink and Nas as well, lost in the sauce in day number 2. Back here with a vengeance, looking to take on Mustache and Malabuka, it looks like.
I think the big from these guys is that it does only take one game for them to really get back into the mix, but they've had a rough couple. They obviously went down to Thomas and Tayson last game. And up against Malabuka and Mustache, that's not necessarily the easiest of matchups either.
But you're saying they went down to Thomas Tayson last game? I think Thomas also took down my pet dog, basically everyone that I know as well. He got like every single elimination available on the planet. This man was just shooting everything. You can honestly, the next duel on the screen, I guarantee, possibly, Thomas HD might have taken them down as well.
You wouldn't be. And you got Tayson tweeting that Thomas HD is the best player in the world. Then you really know the kind of player you have on your hands. Bigging up his teammate after a huge last game.
It's not only that, right? Imagine you have to deal with a player that did what Thomas HD did, right? And you finally take him down. You get to breathe, and like the boss music gets faster, and Tayson shows up, right? Yeah. As a part 2. That is just, should that be allowed? Like, we gotta split this duo up or something, man. That's too much.
That's why in theory, man, this duo, it just seems silly, right? In terms of just, you genuinely have two players who at any given moment over the past 2 years you could argue is the best player in the world. And it's like, oh, okay, I've taken him down. Finally. It took me like everything I have and everything I ever will have for the past, 5 years. And then, boom, Tayson just walks through. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But, again, we can't get too ahead of ourselves. They are still in a neck-and-neck battle against two top dogs. And Nasto, if he goes down here, maybe these guys will be completely out of the battle because at a certain point, you can't afford to just have too many bad games. They will get the elimination, though, and it keeps them in this one. But hopefully they can get themselves out of the little slump they've been on the past couple games.
Pink and Os were basically superheroes, and they had a weakness, right? It would be Vortexia Castry. Ever since that one game where they impeded the way they played on the mountain, they have clashed again and again, and it just seems like the control Pink and Os had over the finals for Europe is just gone, vanished. A little bit of a spark and steam, and it's no longer available. Castry finally going down too, so yes, they take them down, but as Boop, Reese, and Zeke mentioned on the desk, it impedes their game. That butterfly effect comes in. They might not have a vehicle to use. They might not be in the same spot they're used to. They were fans of method in that first day. They were really looking forward to just playing their game plan out every game with slight alterations. This one early to mid-game 111, it is really affecting.
Look at the contrast on your screens, right? Just a moment ago, right, we had the two POVs. On the left was Thomas and Tayson, who we see here below on Surge. And right in front of them, Queasy and Hen was the other team on the screen. These guys are above, and so they're running into their biggest rivals. This is huge in the context of FNCS. Tayson is down, and Thomas has done insane things as a solo. But Queasy and Hen, the top team that they're battling against, may be the one to take them out of this one completely, and that is massive. Thomas and Tayson go down early, and Queasy and Hen will be licking their lips. They will be smiling cheek to cheek, because a good game here could be the difference between them having the Axe of Champions or not.
This is where nerves come into play. They know exactly what they just did, and they don't usually end up with this type of mid-game fights in the third-ish zone. A lot of the Elims I've been watching in the feed have been that 4th to 5th rotation where they pick apart a lot of teams from Storm, right? But right now, first place tied coming into this game, and they themselves become the tiebreakers.
Mind absolutely blown right now.
Your eyes are out of your head. I'm seeing this on the camera.
This is crazy, man. I can't. I don't know what's going on, man. They just always make it so funny. What's going on? Hands down?
I'm telling you, 5th game or 2nd last game Europe, this happens every time. Joe and Vino chasing this down. They're so bad on Surge right now, and they're knocking on the walls. Vino has to take this, but finally, Hen does break out a little bit. I'm not sure if Vino knows there's one on the left side or if he tried to escape. Yes, he did. They're just fully pushed into this. Surge is not really active right now, too, so time's not going to be on their side. Queasy's down again. Vino is going to get sprayed. Can he find the finish? That will be the seconds left. He is gone and down. Vino still alive. Joe in the business. Both first-place teams who were tied. Gone. Almost splintered. Hen, 40 HP with 3 big pots. All his mats being expended. This is basically a sign, a white flag being raised in the air. I basically surrender. There's no way I'm going to be out of this one. Levin, how is this possible?
How many favors is Vino going to do Tayson? First, he leaves Covert Cavern, right? Allows them to have it on con. Now he's taking out Queasy and Hen. Oh my goodness, Vino. It is crazy how things are playing out. Shai, you warned me right before the game. You warned all of us. This is the kind of thing that happened in these second to last games in the EU every single time. And it doesn't fail to disappoint. But the question will be, does Hen really have a chance in this game? Because if he can just stay up as a solo, maybe that will nullify the effect, but it's going to be tough.
He alled in his mats, I feel like from a sign of frustration. I think he realized what's really going down. That being said, making just 1 box, it would have gotten sprayed as well. So using all those mats first off could be good. You want to know the reason I predicted Hen and Queasy though, Levin? I know you and Reese are rolling in. It was very statistical. For me, it was more so nostalgic, right? I'm thinking about watching duos way back in the day. The one man who would clutch, the duo that would look the most different. Anyone that had Hen on it. This man was the wonder child, right? I completely remember this narrative being spit by many analysts in the past. You know, that was just the wave. So I feel like if there is a solo clutch possible from the 6th zone, it's Hen. From the 4th, I'm not even sure if you give this man invincibility that it might be a chance, right? With the way this lobby's set up. This is gonna be tough.
No hard mats left either. Only plenty of ammo, but not of targets to pound it with. It's just gonna really be tough, man. At some point, someone's gonna spot him out. He knows there's a pad over there that he can use to get into zone a bit easier, but how easier? He's not actually gonna take it. The meat, no, fair play. He needs it, right? The meat will work wonders for him at this stage. Oh.
Whiplash, I'm trying to think how Hen's thinking right now. What can I actually do? And this thing is at 132 HP. He does find one of the pads. Remember, he's a solo, and look at that. All of EU under your feet. You're in first place as a solo, and the glide works behind a team. Solo Hen versus 2. He gets some damage down. He needs it. 126 above now, but that number is going to start to teeter and fall. 280. The new damage starts to clock in. This is dangerous for Hen. Remember, these guys are in a section of their own when it comes to Hen, Queasy, Thomas Tayson. 30 points ahead almost 40 to the rest of EU. They want to keep that gap active as much as possible. Obviously, Thomas and Tayson can't do that now, but as far as Hen, he is still in this game.
And as long as he stays in, that itself will be a positive. If they can just find any bit of separation going into that last game, it could be the difference. But Surge will come in, and that will mean that teams will start to get hungry, start sniffing out any solos that may be able to be capitalized on, and Hen's got to be careful.
Look at this position. Backside of the Storm. 6 different duels around you. One knocking towards your base, but you get dropped down. It's Melody finding another angle, but Hen shot him maybe 2 times now for the backside. There's another duo, and Hen is down.
He goes down in first place. But as we know, that's really rough.
both first and second place going down. And so now really is an opportunity maybe for Kiriachi and Stormy Right to get involved in the mix. Can Kiriachi stay alive? He can. Stormy Right making enough space. These guys were incredibly clinical on the low ground last game, but with just 14 HP, swinging his way through, if anybody even gives him a tap on the shoulder, he'll go down, and he stops to use some shields wisely.
I'm thinking about names that end up thriving in situations like this, where the very, very top side of the board go down. Two of them on your screen right now, Toos and Putrick. I feel like Thomas has stopped them twice in terms of trying to go for a retake. It was Queasy that actually beamed down Putrick so hard when he was trying to go for a glide. They will not be here this game.
And Kiriachi went down, and so that means Stormy Right has to clutch up as a solo. You can see here, he's got some mats, he's got the web shooters, but this is going to be a tough, tough game if he wants to try push his team into contention to win it all.
Usually they're alive as a duo, but he will be in that solo spot. Reversal as well on the other side, right? Joe and Vino, both alive. Right above him, usually they have a solo situation to deal with. I'm thinking about one more duo as well on the side of Putrick and Toos. Janice Vortex, also alive for the moment. They're very good, Levin, at stealing these games, being in the best positions. And I'm feeling like this is a day one overall with an Austin Pink on high ground in terms of how the style looks for the game. They might even come back in this competition.
Yeah, and Pink and Anas, right? They've really struggled in games this season to gain high amounts of eliminations when they do win games. But sitting there just outside the top 10, this would be the time to change that.
Janice Vortex want to hit this pad, a little bit of damage done, a lot of damage done on both players. And look at the loadouts. There's no way for them to really get it back. Look at the threshold as well, 99 below. This is absolutely atrocious for Janice and Vortex. I'm not even sure if Vortex can catch up to the spot that they're at right now, but Trulix and Chico are the ones going for high ground. Queasy will not be able to stop them for the moment. Stormy Right doing his best to try to stay inside this game. As much damage as possible to people in the Storm. Possibility of the actual damage from the outside of the circle to help him claim any of these eliminations. Not going to be possible. It is Trulex and Chico that claim that high ground. Clement and Floki going to be there towards mid. Pablo and Swag alive as well. So all the offbeat people are there. And Stormy Right does not actually trip. It's just a super swing. He's fine.
He scared me for a moment. If he had gone down, that would have been heartbreaking. But he doesn't have the web shooters left. Going to do well to farm some bricks, some nice map awareness. But how far is that going to get him? Because he has to climb a mountain, not just metaphorically, but literally.
I see no single-digit place team alive right now. Trulix and Chico just took a place up there in the top 10. They're going to be 9th. Pink, though, and Anas, they still have voices to use. They've been quiet so far, but they're screaming the high ground is ours after that retake. 4 eliminations to pump in this position as well. 7th zone, they're starting things off early and hot.
They've done well, right? They've not lost focus of what the goal and the task ahead is. They had a bit of a slump, but they are sitting on height where they are comfortable. But like I said earlier, they need to try and get some eliminations to pair with it. Stormy right now, high on a layer, but he's in the backside of the zone with a duo knocking on his door, but he has no answers for them. He just has to drop down and get out of dodge.
He's in low ground. That's Vino and Joe's lair. Floki also drops down at the same moment, and Janice is there too to lock one down. And Awesome Pink, though, still on high ground, and everyone switched to wood builds. That puts a big smile on Anas's face. This is where he just starts to beam down every team. Gonna be Fury, the first one that they focus on as well. Pablo and Swag, 3 elims of their old, all in endgame. We're down to the final 9 teams for the circle. And Pablo, oh no, wrong box, my friend. The left side is dangerous. The right side is impossible to move. Swag has nowhere to go. Let's just go up and around. Somehow it's free and allowed. How is this possible? And the backside of 2 different players, but he gets beamed apart. That's Trulix and Chico looking good. Meanwhile, Vino Joe still on low. Trulix now basing up. Looks like he's going to challenge maybe high ground. They actually look back towards the Storm. This is very interesting for them. Looking for any chances for damage, but no, it doesn't land. Lucia now also going down. Pink has a voice. It's still screaming loud. Floki takes out Joe. Vino down 2. Him and Clement are not going to be alive. No, they are both as a duo beside another one going head to head, and Chico and Trulix have no mats.
Chico and Trulix, they have to drop down off of height, and they drop on low, and they're trying to find control. They pick up an elimination on the backside, but that isn't the only threat left, and Trulix can't hack it. Chico now has to stay alive with no materials, and they know it. They will wipe him out. Floki and Clement have done so well, but the job is not done. Pink and Anas know what they need to do. They need to start picking up some eliminations. Neko trying to be the thorn in the backside. Clement is down, and so Floki just left as a solo, and this is really picking up for Pink and Anas here.
They can basically dance on this high ground. All they need to do is break down 2 different solo players. Look at the control from Anas. Look at the confidence from this team on Heights. Momentary reprieve for Floki, but it won't last fast enough. He goes for the swing around the world, but this man's flight's not going to touch down in the best way. The landing gear is not active. The plane might be in the sky, but it'll come crashing down soon. Anas and Pink down on low ground now. All they have to do is look up and beam. The grass is greener on the back half of EU Day 2. Anas and Pink control it down below. Chop down that high ground. This is it for them. A few more shots. How much does Floki have? Not enough. Pink now will secure it towards the end. That's a double shot. That's a VR for your second last game from Pink and Anas.
A 7 elimination victory royale may just be enough to push them back into contention. They had a bit of a slow couple games, but they really did rally back together to get back involved. A brilliant display from Pink and Anas. We saw them win a couple games yesterday, and they're finally able to pick one up on day 2.
Power, speed, and most importantly, recovery for their performance on day number 2. They needed this, and look at that style from Pink. One swing, and the entire destiny of Height changes. Anas gets close and comfortable with everyone on low ground as well. Big props for Floki for trying to survive that long. That's all the experience with practice, but it's not going to be enough when you're up against the 2 GOATs.
Pink and Anas did so well. But the big question is, right, going into this final game, what does that battle for first look like? Who will be the one to finally claim the AXA champions? The only people that can let us know, right, are Zeke, Boop, and Reese. So, gentlemen, take it away.
Okay. Everybody, take a deep breath. Calm down. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. What is going on in Europe? In Chapter 3, Season 1, okay? Someone's trying to make me have a heart attack right now. I cannot handle the incredible action that we're seeing, and now Pink and Anas are going, hey, whoa, 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 with 1 game left? Yeah, we're going to aim for the top 10. We might even see within the top 5. My goodness, Boop. I did not expect this to go the way that it goes, but once again, it's just chaos everywhere, man. And Pink and Anas, they just do what they got to do, right? They're like, oh, yeah, high ground? Let's just do that. Let's just do that, win the game.
Yeah, I mean, Pink and Anas, they saw everyone else getting the attention, say, hey guys, don't forget about us, you know, day 1 winners, and they came back strong. You know, this game they played a little bit more aggressively. They W-keyed over towards Camp Cuddle, and maybe that's the new playstyle. You know, 7 elimination victory royale for them. That's unheard of.
And I think it's really important to note that obviously they were first after day 1. Prior to this game, so in the first 4 games today, they only had 23 points. Yeah. On top of the 156 they got yesterday. So that victory royale they got there is huge. Remember, every placement that they go up in the leader, every threshold is more and more money. And that victory royale could A, put them in potential to win if they do well in the next game, but also just give them a bit more moolah.
Yeah. There is 1 game left here in Chapter 3, Season 1, FNCS Finals. We have to turn attention to the standings. We have to set the stage here as we prepare for the last game of the season here in Europe.
Oh my.
I cannot believe it is Boop and I with Tayson and Thomas HD versus Shia Wager, Levin, 2K, and Reese, who all think Hen and Queasy can win. 4 points of difference. Listen, we have like 4 minutes before we have to jump into this game. Boop, Reese, just set the stage here as we prepare for this last game.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like we get paid to do this, right? Look at that analysis. It's absolutely impeccable. I mean, this is coming through, right? All of the experience coming in now. This is what it's all about. Multiple FNCS winners and Tailmus there inside as well. But, you know, widely regarded as one of the best players in the world. Now finally showing up in the finals. And with 1 game to go, it's all about cracking under pressure. Who will succeed? Whose experience will balance out? I don't know. What do you think, Reese?
I mean, every team in this top has the potential to win in the next game is an FNCS champion level team. The top 3 teams are nearly all FNCS champions outside of Thomas HD, which we all know. I said 3, you know, we'll move down to 4. Yeah, okay. You know, we know that he has the potential. He has the skill to be able to do that. Hen and Queasy, FNCS champions. Tayson, the 4-time FNCS champion. Kiriachi and Stormy Wright from Chapter 2 Season 7 champions as well. Obviously, Janice, multiple time. There's so many people in here that are looking to get a multiple time. And you've got to think that last endgame, Stormy Wright was the only player in the top 5 alive still, and he clutched up big points from him. That's why he's now up in 3rd.
I mean, you couldn't write it better. And as well, I love to mention Trulex and Chico. Trulex, I feel like he's the forgotten FNCS winner, never mentioned with Queasy and Jerky, you know? He's always there. He's so close by. But, you know, they had such a great game there. I feel like the underdogs coming in, but they're so close as well. 25 points only. You never know what can happen in these early game skirmishes. You know, something could go wrong. Someone could make a misstep, and, you know, everyone can still win.
100%. I think it's really important to know also that Hen and Queasy, no victory royales today in the 11 games, and their playstyle is game winning. They are guys who go up to high ground. They are guys who pick up the victory royales. So to see them without any and be on top of the leaderboard is super impressive. Here's obviously the next list of teams. Everyone here, you got to even know, 208 points. What's that, like 61 or something like that behind the first? Like, that's a victory royale with 11 eliminations. And, you know, obviously that won't put them into first because those players will probably get points as well. But that's top 5. Hugely depends on the players at the top of this.
One final game in Europe, and to see how close our top 10 is. Don't forget, as I've mentioned before, and I will always mention, even players in your 11th through 20th, they're trying to jump up into that top 10 as well, right? They may not get first, but when you're talking a difference in prize money, that's what they're aiming for right here, right now. I just want to get super quick thoughts, okay? We have about 50 seconds before we're going to hang out with the casters. Expectations going into the final game. Boop, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I want us all to just look at high ground this game because it's all dependent. Like, are we going to have people fighting for high ground? Are we going to 50-50? Are we going to play more passively? And I think that's where the experience comes through yet again. I don't think Queasy and Hen are going to go for it straight away. I don't think Thomas G and Tasty go for it right away. I don't know. It's a big question mark.
I mean, realistically, any of these teams go down, they're not winning early, right? So that's hugely to watch out the top 3. Usually in this situation, I'd say that more experienced players will be the ones who are going to look out for it. But all 3 top teams are like the most veteran players in there. When you go down the list, you start to get to other FNCS champions pairing up with newer players too. So, hey, I just want to watch the last game, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, well,
here we go.
Reese, Boop, let's get ready to do this. Fortnite fam, one final game here in Europe to decide it all. Legends Landing, if you guys are watching, hit us with the emotes. Let the hype rise as we board the battle bus one last time. Shia Wager, 11-2K. Let's go again.
What is our life? This is what we wanted, but I couldn't have never imagined that it would truly be to live of the FNCS. It's been a great season, but this is about to be an even greater finish.
We thought it wouldn't be close. Day 1 looked like, you know, yeah, the leaderboard is what it is, but there's clear leaders that are pushing us forward in Europe. That changed immediately when we landed on day 2. And now, Levin, there's 2 teams at the top who do not want to go down.
And even just shortly back out, it's been an intense couple of games, but there's really not going to be one as nail-biting as this. We head into the final game of the FNCS right now.
Game number 12, European FNCS, $1.3 million on the line to hand out to every player. A 4-point game at the top, much closer past that, all the way down. It's the 50 best teams you can watch play in the world. And Thomas H. and Tayson, they're rocking down with a lot of damage. I find this slightly uncharacteristic. I haven't really seen this form of landing before, but I like what I'm watching. Every single strat is out for this game. Thomas H. and Tayson are 2nd place overall. They really want it.
And they're not too far from first. It's literally the smallest of differences between it. Bad Sniper goes down early in Tilted Towers. What's going on? They've had the better of Benji and Savage for so long, but Phoenix, who was at Covert before, now over at Tilted and takes down Bad Sniper. So our 7th place team has a new hurdle to climb in this game.
Every person that likes to tune in sometimes only comes through for the final game of Fortnite for the regions. If you're not comfortable or, you know, used to watching competitive Fortnite, every single player has a certain drop they usually land at. Right now, that's being changed up inside Tilted. That's where Benji and Savage, a lot of names you guys recognize, are going to be landing. That's where a bunch of players on the map are. Free Llama for Hen and Queasy as well. Why are this team or this duo important, Levin?
Oh, they sit in 1st place. They hold the keys to the lobby right now, Shia.
Oh, interesting. And they have a Llama as well. Haven't gotten a single launch pad all day, somehow still in that 1st place. Psycho Clown and Oipik. Rolls will also be rolling through right now. A team that has never really been in the FNCS finals. A team that just plays like just another duo you love to watch throughout the day. They aren't legends. They're making their new stride. They're the next generation. And right now, they've been struggling on a fight off spawn over and over again. Somehow still in that top 10. Grols is down, all down to Clown. Him against Hookah and Zestin 1v2. This is not the same as many other games we see. Usually they're winning this off-spot fight, but now you see things as well. From the starting position, they're always isolated 2v2. A third party doesn't come in fast. It's Chapix and Seti who are here, who've been having a rough finals the entire time. These are legends in their own right, but they haven't found their footing in EU this weekend.
Yeah, in last game, we saw Chapix and Seti try to get involved in this fight, come in third party, and they were just a bit too late to the action. This time though, they are speedy, they're quick with it. They don't want to miss out, and this is exactly why they know that they can capitalize. Clown has a 2v1, and even though they've not been on their best performance, Seti and Chapix in a
vision. They're never on our screens in terms of how they do things, how they stay alive. They're never next to the top 10 in terms of their boxes. Somehow, though, in the top 3, though.
It's crazy because this was very much looking like a two-headed race, but these guys have just pushed their way in, barged everyone through. Kiwi actually telling everyone, look, I am an FNCS champion and I want to be one again. They sit just 1 point behind second and not too far away from first either. DKF finally being taken out there, and that's real rough in terms of the pickaxe coming through.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Everything being thrown through the doors in terms of this last game. Seti and Chapix, their battle's not done either. Swifty, you'll notice the number beside these nameplates, the numbers at the bottom left as well. That's the overall placement for these teams. It'll be 38th, battling another team that's somewhat in the 30s as well. Seti no mats, has to jump all the way down, and unfortunately, it's not gonna be enough. Chapix is gone as well. Huddy and Swifty rise up the ranks.
That's going to be all 9 lives gone for Seti and Chapix. Taken out. It's just not been their tournament. Sometimes the hard work just doesn't connect with the result. But that's where they hit the drawing board and they come back stronger next season. But in the meantime, in the rest of the lobby, our second place team, another game where they have launch pads, all the shield they could possibly ask for, and another zone. Is that 12 out of 12 zones in the west, northwest of the map? Everything literally has gone perfectly for them in that regard. They've had the perfect circumstances, and now they have the opportunity to deliver.
When did Janix and Vortex get into 4th? These guys have just been chilling the entire time. They literally get 1 win, and they sleep, and they do nothing for the rest of the day. Somehow, in top 5, next to Kuriachi, next to, we have Thomas Tayson and Henan Queasy as well. I mean, if these guys are in contention and they're focused level, right? I mean, this team always just feels like they lack focus. If they're focused, it's the business. It's time. Talk about the business too. Benji Fishy looking kind of nice with the tux. He's rolling in. But unfortunately, Savage once again down 114 points. They're in 30th place overall. Benji almost out of match. He has to 1v2 to keep that prize money potential alive. 166. Slap Phoenix in the face. He's not fooling around. You can see Elim too. He's looking kind of dicey with it. But those extra points confirmed. Smart from him because that's more likely than getting that second Elim. Their story will end today in 30th.
Benji and Savage will just have to go next. It wasn't their day. They started off well, but cooled off eventually. Janice and Vortex, though, it's hard to predict at times their trajectory. They start off hot, and they look like they fizzled out, but then they come back striking harder than ever.
When it comes to Janice and Vortex, I'm just scared watching them every time. They are just periodically shaking a soda can, and you want it to explode in endgame. Sometimes, though, the pressure gets too high. Earlier in the game, they start making crazy mistakes. The pressure gets too much. Fizz everywhere. Trulex Chico as well. I feel like they are so good in their journey, never actually arrive at their destination in the most glorious way. Have the best spots. Look at this tower. Look at the beams. It's looking mighty fine for Chico and Trulex right now. As soon as endgame starts, they start to panic. The high ground they control, taken over. The front side of the zone, absolutely overpopulated. There's no chance for them to really stay alive at all.
It's rough, right? Because you watch them, especially in that last game, where they roll through, they go on height, Truelet's trying to show people he did play with Queasy, right? He understands the ways of the high ground, but they just haven't quite been able to materialize it yet. They still sit in 5th place, and it's been an impressive run. But will they be able to close it out in even more spectacular fashion? That remains to be seen.
Lots of action all around the map. We'll see some of those middling teams go down and go for their final fights on the Fortnite Island. PKR and Mappy having a little bit of a rough day, but they find a few eliminations back and forth. Kiko and Mosh, not going to make it too easy for them, though. PKR finally going down, taking over. Meanwhile, Stompy Jew, they're rocking in as well. The right side of the island has been such a rough fight, and it's not going too well for them either.
I feel so sad watching all of these fights because the reality is the nature of Fortnite, the nature of this community is with a lot of these teams, this is going to be the last time we ever see them compete with each other. Genuinely, this might be the last time you ever see Benji Fishy with Mr. Savage by his side in a lobby of this caliber. Every single fight is just a closing of the chapter for so many of these teams.
And now I want to focus on a little bit of the top 4. Who are they? What are their qualities? How do they play? For me, Hen and Queasy, if they had a superpower, it'd be invisibility, Levin. Somehow untouched as they move around, get to high ground, undetected, unseen, and then just have power and control.
They truly are thieves in the night, right? Always available there to steal high ground away from whoever thinks they have it. But these guys truly have shown at times that they can be the bosses in that regard. And so sitting in first, again,
and how the hell do they do it?
On the bottom left, Kiriachi and Stormy right, I would give them the tags of duelists. Very good at taking fights 2-on-2 against one other team. That's how they build up their surge. That's how they beam people across the map. As soon as you add a third party to the mix, though, I feel like that has been their weakness throughout the entire day.
The big thing for them, though, is that if they can get deeper into these games, they've shown that in end games, they can find control on low ground, right? Even in all the chaos and all the madness, they can be the ones to stop anybody from dropping down and finding a sense of a home down there. And so that really is the winning condition for those boys.
We end up with Thomas and Tayson. I would call them team marketing. Every single over again, right? That is something that's so scarce in this meta. If you're used to watching Fortnite in the past, yeah, they might be prevalent. Over here, not many teams have them. And also being said, they're the unfair team. We mentioned it, right? Imagine having to deal with Thomas HD, one of the best players in the world. You take him down, Tayson pops up. What do?
There's not much you can do other than just be knocked or be eliminated, right? Oftentimes, it's like running into a brick wall. How many times can you continue to run into that brick wall without realizing that there is nothing you can do?
They are basically the final boss, and they've got 2 phases, is what I'm trying to put down here. You have to be able to do the entire fight without being scathed, touched even once, or you're down. Then we have Janice and Vortex in 4th place. I mean, these guys, I don't know what tag to add to them. Mystery men, an enigma. I don't know how they approach this game. You have a knack for them, Levin. You know exactly when they can win. You've called it multiple times. Talk to me here.
They truly are what you expect from a Dark Horse team. One that maybe hasn't been given the credit as one of the best teams in the EU or in the world, but they truly are just that. Completing all phases of the game. Early game, solid. Mid game, secure. And end game is where they can explode. Vortex, one of the strongest, more exciting players in all the land. And Janice, a veteran who knows how to do it and win on all stages. They truly are one of the bigger threats, and they have been, and they will continue to be in this lobby.
To round out the top 5, we did talk about Trulix and Chico for just a little bit. Nomad's just trying to find a home, just trying to find a way to get comfortable. Once again, I think this is just a masterclass of mid-game damage, 401 above in terms of handling Surge. And they just get to endgame, and that's where, you know, it's tough. No one's giving them a hitchhike ride anymore. No one's trying to help them out in terms of giving them the space. That being said, what is this new tag that just popped up on your screen on the top, or I guess right side, the damage threshold? This is Surge. You have to deal enough damage, or else you will basically start to take damage from the entire server. And with that being said, that's one of the things that everyone's been focusing on inside the mid game. Early game, it's all about winning your POI. Late game, obviously getting as many elims as you can and winning. But in the middle, every team you'll realize will start to make bases or push boxes and start to handle their surge. Just the way to keep people active as they play the game. You deal damage or you take damage, that's all it is.
The Red Squad and Scram, the team on RC Green, they've been a bit all over the place at times when it comes to their ability to do damage when it matters the most. If these guys can get their Storm Surge dealt with, they will be a threat in endgame, one of the more experienced teams. But that in itself is a big question mark. Will they be able to do that? You can see Queasy and Hen posted up on this hill. This is their attempt to deal with their Storm Surge. You can see they're up so high, they can see everybody in this general area. And so once somebody pops out, right there, just what Queasy did. Take some shots. That damage goes a long way in the journey. Just trying to stay above the Storm Surge.
It's Tayson and Thomas are taking damage towards. This just happened in the last game. They saw each other. They were tied for points. Right now, I believe Queasy is about 4 ahead. This is first and second, though, and Hen and Queasy ended up taking out Thomas and Tayson. They're also 11, the only people in this spot that can actually look at each other and go for shots. They're going to be rattling up against each other. Depending on this performance, we'll see who's allowed to play this game, who actually has that damage and the surge.
And if this zone goes further southeast, right, they could end up having to rotate almost side by side. We saw what happened, right? Last time that happened, it didn't end well for either team. And so look, that journey's going to have to start being made, and it's going to be real rough. They've so far sort of just traded, which is all right because they both have lots of shields because of the POIs they come from. But at a certain point, you don't want to trade anymore. Right? At a certain point, you want to be the one that alphas the other.
Always want to be the one coming out on top. Right now, the differences for all these teams, I want to explain it a little bit and what they're walking away with today. Hen and Queasy, as of right now, are sitting on $300,000 in their position in first place. The difference between them and Thomas and Tayson are sitting on $200,000. There's a $100,000 difference between these teams. 4 points that are worth basically $100,000. Behind them with Stormy Ray and Kiriachi, third place overall, will walk away with $150K. So you can see the amounts start to get up, and up more as we go through these rankings. Vortex and Janice, 120K2 at fourth. Looking good for now, but once again, this is only if these teams survive and maintain these spots. We've seen it every game. Whoever is first and second, they start to dwindle. They go a little bit back and forth. Their position changes drastically when the next game starts. Last game was a catch-up for the rest of the board, which makes this one so much more so interesting. Everyone is about 10, 20-ish points next to each other. That is just a little bit of placement overall.
You can see their position right here in the middle of the lake. Actually somewhere where I've seen them look to position themselves in the past. Relatively central in this third zone, and it means that when fourth pops, they're likely to pull it. But if things don't go their way, things could get messy, right? Just sort of isolated here in the middle of everything. But the big thing is they have experience here, right? They've literally pulled this kind of zone so many times, whether that be in other qualifiers, in scrims, practice, so they'll know exactly what the right protocol is. They have it all planned to a T.
Thing is, you might have a plan. It can still look kind of drastic. They're 20 points behind overall from Thomas HD and Tayson, right? 20 points, that's a lot of eliminations needed. Each elim worth 3. You can do the math. They got to just keep racking things up and have a stellar performance. Tayson goes down to Aqua. This split base to try to gain control of the north side of the map leads to disastrous results for Thomas HD. He will try to go for a little bit of that finish on Noah Riley. He will come through. Maybe he can get the mats. But the second place team, the head-to-head matchup we were looking forward to facing and watching, gets fractured in half. And Tayson is down.
Thomas truly is half man, half amazing, but at what point is it too much for him? At what point is it really too much of a mountain to climb? This is going to be a real tough ending. Aqua was able to get the reboot on O'Reilly, but Thomas won't be able to have that same benefit. And even then, it doesn't matter.
He gets 3 more. Noah Riley brought back from the lobby by Aqua. There's no chance for Aqua to go back. The zone does too much damage now to get the reboot again, but that's 3 points from Thomas HD to have again. He just has to wait. There's an airdrop here as well. That's another pad. If there is a person in this game that can solo an endgame, it might be Thomas. He might have another free pick here. It's up against Aqua. He knows it's the 1v1, but the more noise he makes, everyone else on the server will start to shoot, and those shots start to come from a long distance. They won't do too much damage, but Thomas has to be careful. One mistake, his HP totals go down. He has to just push forward for this fight. 35 seconds left for the his own move as well. He has some time to work with, but in all these metal builds, this SMG is not going to do too much damage to those fully built walls. To try to go for that pressure, he's going to elect to just back up a bit, go for the package. It's going to be fine. Will it drop a launch pad? Does he have the marketing? No. No pad for him. No, yes, absolutely. 2 pads now for him to rock in with. I have to assume that Tayson might have used one earlier on before, so it's going to be fine for him for now. Aqua is going to be here on low ground, fully beefed up with the shield. I'm not sure what the surge situation looks like for Thomas HD either, but what I do know is there are at least 4 teams looking this way. No matter what decision he makes here, the eyes will be on him in this lobby.
This is going to be a real tough rotation. Aqua lands at the bugle, so he has the web shooters, I believe. And Thomas doing what probably was the best option, right? Looking to go towards this hill, using it as cover. And he does take a bit of damage, but he has the shields to recover. But that's just even less shields to use deeper into the game. And he still has his eyes set on Aqua. He realizes that every little point helps. Oh, wow. He's 64 below as well, so he actually just needs the damage straight up in terms of surge.
Look at the points in third place. 265 right now, and Thomas is at 266. Yeah, the 3 points will help overall, but he will fall down the standings if he can't live. Yes, the elim, it'll be huge. Yes, to this point, you go down in the top 3, you might be able to hold on to top 10, but this man wants to win. He wants to be on the podium. So does Tayson. And clutch sprays coming in from up above. Will it update the threshold? No, just 37 below still. Thomas HD is in trouble. He'll have to use one of his pads directly in the line of sight of other players. Not everyone opens up. He's going for the 1v1. Aqua jumping in the box, but Aqua lands a big shot, controls the wall, bounced back. Thomas HD somehow survives, doesn't own any of these walls. Aqua, I think, just got beamed down as well right in front of him. Now the entire lobby's focusing him, and Thomas HD is down.
That might just be it. I doubt their second place will hold with Kiriachi and Stormy right looking so strong. And so what was setting up to be a photo finish for them might be the end of their FNCS run. And if Hen and Queasy have been paying attention to the feed, that will be huge for them.
This happened last game though. They took down Thomas HD and Tayson, and then the next 20 seconds, they looked a bit too happy-go-lucky. They got a bit too fruitful with the way they were playing the game. A miss-edit a little bit possibly. They were trying to hit a pad, but looks like I got blocked. They'll go down forward again, blocked once more. Hen falls down and jumps. They barely took any damage, just one zone tick. They're looking good, composed. All they need to do right now is stay alive.
And they can do that. They've been able to so well. We talked about how they can be so sneaky, almost like they're invisible in these games. And some nice damage being dealt. Hen, you can feel he's in rhythm, hitting the shots when needed. And this is everything. This is their chance. Last year, FNCS, the first one of the year, Hen was victorious. 2022, can he do it again?
We need to stay with him for this one. We haven't watched the way they really take height, hold it. Yes, we tune in with a bunch of other POVs as well, but I really want to see the decisions they make. Look at this expert spot. They're still picking up a few eliminations. None of them will actually go towards points credits, though. It's just the pressure, because Trippern and Vidil are there to pick those ones up. It's fully aquatic. 11-2K, look at the zone.
I'm loving this. I am absolutely loving this. And if you remember back, right, this will be great for Janice and Vortex. They were prepared, right? And so I'm sure they'll be sitting pretty. The Hen and Queasy deal with it so well. And you can see Hen doesn't stop, right? He's constantly looking for these opportunities. He can smell it from a mile away. And now, as the zone pulls towards that northeast, this is where champions are made. 104 below somehow. Oh no, 273. The update came through. But Hen, Queasy versus Stormy Rat and Kiriachi is the story to follow for today.
On the left side of your screen, just pay attention to those golden lights. They're jumping straight into the storm, and yes, they do actually grab the pad. Lots of damage done. They'll have to drop down and heal. I'm tracking them. They're going towards the front side of the zone. On the right side, you can see their POV going up, and away towards high ground. Almost a straight up second height. Do they find each other, though? Are they together? Yes, that is the case. Still good above Surge. Queasy takes a little bit over on the tarp. Hen starts to move in as well. Armored wall put down, so they have a moment to breathe. Hen and Queasy are making this run to win EU FNCS.
And Karma and Booback may sit on height, for the meantime, but I can assure you, Hen and Queasy will start to look, and you can already see Hen peeking up. But just before, he'll look to try see if they can get any more eliminations, anything that can get the material count up and healthy. But it's all about that timing for when they look for height.
Have to be controlled here. Bubak might just go down, get angry with it. Queasy actually stumbles, falls, gets beamed. It's someone in their builds. I think Bubak's getting close and personal. 276 for Hen. It's not going to be enough to just win the entire tournament. He's going to have to clutch by himself. The wonder kid from seasons before has to grow up to be a man. One elimination. He's all on his own. Has almost maximum wood, but no more hard mats up against the wall of Vidil. A tough fight to win. Gains control of the ramp. Has a chance for an edit. Just wants to get the materials, get a little bit out of it. He's on this floor. It's not his. Has to be careful. This is crazy. Spicy Splashes has 8 of them. He can really move around and has a lot of mats to work with as well. He's going to tank this zone as much as possible. Look at that golden light lost in the darkness. Hen has to keep this run alive. 284 points. He's getting higher in these standings. 13 teams left. Bubak still has height. What a nice swing. He's on second height right now. Has to relieve that pressure. Maybe drop down slightly. No, he doesn't get focused by anyone. Full hard mats here for him to use as well. Bubak starts to rattle on the cage that Hen is in, but this man is no chicken, no turkey. He's a beast. He's looking for the shots on a Janison Vortex. Another armored wall he's showing for the moment right now. That golden right surrounded by enemies from all and every single side. Someone's waiting. Jump inside Hen's box. One miss edit could be his demise. Goes for a few more shots and Elam down below. He still doesn't find it. How is Hen still alive from this moment? Has a lot of mats to work with. He'll go off from the right side. 286, first place is still shining bright and looking true. A double jump in midair too. He's found his next box.
Hen's done so well to stay alive. He's done everything he possibly can, and he won't stop here. Dealing damage, applying pressure like he has a teammate by his side. Gets Karma down, has the chug smasher when the siphon comes in. That will be huge for his HP. He's done brilliantly. 291 points is going to be a mountain that not many teams can climb. Karma and Janice down, and so this is going to be real difficult for all of these teams left trying to fight for the AXA champions.
6 teams, 6 players. It's a solos FNCS basically, and Hen is going for high ground. 1v1, toe to toe, up against Bubak. One edit, he's got no shield. Hen needs to win this. He has control. This is a solo clutch of your career, my friend, and you're about to win the FNCS if you hold on. No mats, one armored wall. This is all he has left.
Hen has everything. He's done everything. He's solo clutch. We know he has that ability. No materials left, but he still is able to apply damage. Won't get that elimination, but he will hold on.
Starts to spray one more person in his way to sit those down on the low ground. All it has to do is wait. The drop down, the beam, it's almost enough. Hen has it. 1v1, 297 points. This is for the European Championship. All he has to do is take down Walks, solidify it. He has enough points already, but do it in style, my friend. The VR is just in your grasp. Hen as a solo against the world, and he wins the European FNCS.
He has the motivation, he has the drive, the hunger, and the thirst for greatness. He is greatness. Hen and Queasy will win the first FNCS of the year, and what a way to do it. The solo clutch when all the odds were against him, and the boy from Britain is able to do it. Wow.
That's just what you expect from a man who was born in this mode. Someone who gave us the best stories from Chapter 2 and possibly even the big moments we saw from Chapter 1. I mean, Hen right now, to do it from that early as a solo, monumental, crazy, what a shot. I'm just so happy. A comeback performance as well at 11. They were so behind from that first day.
It was crazy, right? They had so high expectations coming into the FNCS finals, and it started off slow. There were doubts about their ability, but they just kept rising and rising shy throughout the tournament, and they seal it out. They've looked like the best duo all season long, and they finished the season the best duo as well.
Absolutely crazy from these guys. I don't know how to explain it. They just went away from everyone else into their own world, their own time chamber, and then came out complete champions. I mean, that's what we love to see. And Levin, casting this with you, man. I mean, first run for both of us. It was also awesome from start to finish.
There's nobody I'd rather do it with, man. It's been one of the best days of Fortnite I've seen in a long, long time. It's been an absolute blast, and I can't wait to do it again.
Absolutely. We'll toss it back over to Zeke, Boop, and Reese. I mean, that was a run of a lifetime.
You just gotta give them the applause. You know what I'm saying? Like, Hen, Queasy, It's in those moments, man, that we live for. Those moments of clarity, of just pure, serene tranquility, where they can just say, it doesn't matter what happens. I have the confidence. I have put everything into this performance, into this final game. And to then walk away the winner, Boop. It is just... Is there a better feeling? I don't think so.
That is just ridiculous. The incredible mental fortitude to do it as a solo. It was 5 solos at the end there. It was basically a solo tournament. And Hen, with everything, all the pressure on the line, everything on his shoulders, he just did it. I'm lost for words. Absolutely speechless. Hen has secured himself as one of the best players in Fortnite history. What a man.
That is one of the best moments in Fortnite ever. Like, hands down, there is one of the best moments in Fortnite ever. The solo clutch from Hen. Queasy obviously went down to that spray, as we noticed there. But I can't even speak at this moment. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm seeing the reactions coming out from them on Twitter right now. Queasy shaking, literally. He said he's almost passing out watching Hen solo clutch do this, what we just saw here. And I am, again, I'm just speechless. Great analyst, like, I don't understand, but, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, let's go a little bit more analytical. You know, when we saw them in day number 1, you know, we saw them sort of, they maybe had lost a little bit of hope, right? And then that last game, we saw just a glimmer, just a tiny little glimmer of hope. And today, they just turned it to the absolute maximum. You know, at the beginning of the show, we alluded to the feeling that Queasy had, you know. Yesterday, everything went wrong for him. And today, looked like everything went right. Hen was on top, Queasy was on top, and that is just absolute beautiful Fortnite that we see from them. Just ridiculous stuff, and it makes me so happy to be here to witness it.
I know, and you know, going into this game, I said they have no victory royales. I said these guys are game winners coming into that, and in the final game, they proved me wrong. Thankfully, picking up that final victory royale in the final match. And what's so interesting about this is, like, they've been the #1 hype team the entire season. I think they've been the #1 team the entire season, and right now they have just proved that in the biggest stage possible, winning, of course, $300,000, $150,000 each, and they've both won FNCS multiple times already so far. Just some of the best players in the world, hands down.
And to top it off, right, to get the victory royale, you could have got, he could have fell in second place, just be like, yeah, I won the tournament, I'm the best, whatever. To be able to be like, no. There was no question. I was in the driver's seat the whole time. So well fought from this duo out of Europe. Congratulations, Hen and Queasy, duo champions here in the Chapter 3 Season 1 FNCS. 319 total points. Only a single victory royale, but you know what, Boop? That was the one that cemented it all.
Who needs multiple when just one is enough?
You just need the one.
All you need is the one. I mean, that's a story you tell your children, right? That is just, oh my goodness. You know, it's bad when me and Reese have nothing to say about it.
We were literally run out of things to say at this point. Honestly, what I think is so interesting about this team is just the dynamic. Obviously, I've said how many times it's built up of double champions, one of the only 4 teams that is both FNCS champions on that. But the team dynamic's so good. You've got Queasy, who's that calculated player who's a little bit overly safe sometimes. Interestingly enough, him going down first there was very uncharacteristic of that.
Yeah.
Usually it's Hen who's the super aggressive one, who's going to jump into boxes, who, if you've watched, I'm not just plugging their YouTube here, but if you watch back the gameplay, firstly, amazing gameplay. Secondly, comms, amazing, hilarious. You're going to hear Queasy just be like, Hen! Just trying to get him to rein things back in. So to see Queasy go down first, uncharacteristic. But you're leaving someone like Hen the reins. You're handing them over to him to pop off, to give those kind of solo performances, to win championships. Unreal.
Yeah, and I always consider duos to be a game of 2 solos, right? And we've seen Queasy this season do so well in solo cash cups. Hen also always such a good solo player, also qualified multiple solo cash cups as well. And you know, that combination of 2 players, at the beginning it was a little bit tough, right? They had the mentality issues, but they overcome that adversity, and now they're just champions. Just, yeah, amazing.
So fantastic. We got to see the final placement, the final prize money to be divvied out here once again. It is just a shock, but in the best way possible.
Wow.
And take a look at this. After everything is said and done, Kariachi and Stormy, right, they fought. They came out of your top 3. and they end the tournament in second place. And once again, I want to remind you, you're probably thinking to yourself, Zeke, but second's not first. But I'll tell you right now, look at that prize money. A fourth all the way up to second, that's $50,000 for you and your duo, respectively, right? And again, everyone who has made it here has proven that they deserve to be in the finals. They are finals-worthy duos. So congratulations to everyone. Boop, how are you feeling about the final standings here in the top 10?
Yeah, it makes me very happy to see multiple players, not only the big boys, Hen and Queasy, see Kiriachi, he was on the verge of quitting this season, maybe wasn't sure. Stormlight overcoming some adversity as well to get second place. Thomas Orientation, as always, very consistent. Vortex and Janice, new duos, sort of struggled to find duos coming through. Trulix and Chico, these guys sort of quiet the entire 2 days, but they've been there the entire time, and I'm happy to see Trulix, he sort of got thrown back in terms of duos, hasn't been able to find the best. He found someone as underrated as Chico, such an up-and-coming player, a ridiculous talent, and I'm expecting such good things from them as well in the future.
I mean, talking about up-and-coming players, 6th place, Grolls and Clown.
Oh, yeah.
They've been almost like a highlight team so far. It's a shame that almost that switching up of drop spots from Vino moving over to Covert in the last couple games left Seti and Champix able to push them in that early engagement and capitalize on the messy fight that they had, because these guys were absolutely fragging out and doing such a good job. I think 6th, they have to be happy about that regardless. I'm sure maybe the initial thought process is going to be a little bit upset because they had a shot at winning, but regardless, when you look back at this through history, you're going to be like, 6th in FNCS, you know what? That wasn't too bad.
Not too bad, no.
Not bad at all. And for their first performance, right? How many duos can say, hey, this is the first FNCS finals we've ever made? And to make top 6, right? That's earnings. That's recognition for their duos. So even if they decided, hey, we're going to split up and go our separate ways, they're going to be able to say, look, we came in 6th individually. So you should partner with us because we can do that again. Absolutely insane. Now, Reese, listen, we're going to look at predictions. Okay, me and Boop lost this time. But Boop, we didn't do too bad, okay? Yeah. They still showed up, right? We still in the top 5. Not the worst. Okay, production, you guys didn't have to do me like this. Don't show them the numbers. Show them the numbers. You know what? Actually, no, what? Production, give us the numbers. Shy wager. Can we just talk?
Wow, that's rough I mean, new analyst on the desk, Boop. I get it, 4 points for yourself. Maybe next season it'll come back up. We just got. I don't know how this is marked because I got first place. Me, Shio, and Levin all got first place. How's that only 3 points? I'm feeling that this is rigged a little bit here. I'll take second place right over. And obviously, just me, Shio, and Levin. I'm making it really hard for production, saying a bunch of names here, which is great. They're gonna who am I gonna highlight next? But no, me, Shio, Levin. Obviously, all 3 of us went with Heezy. I'm combining them now. They make shoes or something at this point. Hen and Queasy, obviously, as our predictions, picking that first place, and of course, Mum also went with that. That's what really matters here. Let's be real.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mama Reese will be taking my job next season. She's the better analyst, absolute legend that she is. It hurts me.
I know. Those 4 points, I think it's going to be that way.
Hey, at least I beat someone. It's fine.
That's true. Guys, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. This has been the conclusion of the FNCS here in Europe. If you were watching in Legends Landing, we appreciate it. Use your favorite emote. Throw all the tomatoes all over the place. Now, if you're still wanting more, you're like, Zeke, this has been incredible. I want to watch more. We have NA East and NA West. 2 more regions, 6 games in both of those regions, and champions to be crowned. So make sure you stick around for that. It has been a pleasure hanging out with all of you who have watched, from Shia Wager and Levin, Boop and Reese and myself, and from the entire production team. We're so thankful and just happy that it has all gone down the way it has. Until next time, Fortnite fam, we love you. Keep yourselves safe. And as always, we'll see you guys on the battle bus.
Beep, beep. Much love.
I do it.